Adam.
That's the new me, Rob.
I might be.
I'm loving it. It's a whole new you, Adam. It's a whole new you.
Do you think
We're live? We're live, guys.
Adam, are you? Ah. Hello. Hello, you
hi
two.
there.
How are you?
Good evening. Good morning.
Good evening.
Good afternoon.
Go on, Rox. You do it. You do it.
Yeah, either one. No, we could have all done one each. We could have done good evening, good morning, good
day.
afternoon.
Good day.
Yeah, thank you all so much for obliging us and waiting. I'd intended on going live 40 minutes ago, but hey, my name's Roxanne, so let's not change a habit of a lifetime. I massively appreciate you all taking the time to be with us here tonight. We've gone live to talk about everything that's going on. I want to put a disclaimer. We're not on here fear-mongering. We're definitely not on here fear-mongering. We're just going to talk about everything that's going on in the international climate of things just now. I know quite a lot of you in the chat room have got opinions, and I really want you to pop those opinions into the chat room, put your 2 cents worth. Tell us what's going on where you live, wherever you live across the international plane of existence. I want to know what's going on in your area. I was talking to Janine, Dolly Daydream, earlier on today, and she said to me, everything's fine where I am. Everything's tickety-boo, nothing's out of place, everything's hunky-dory, which was really positive to hear. There's some pockets in the country where this madness hasn't got to yet. I've got a few things to show you. I've got a few things to play you and a few things to tell you, as I know all of us have. Near, Adam, Double, thank you all so much for being here. How are you all doing? Top, middle or bottom? Which one do you want to go first?
Double.
Double O.
Go on, Adam. No, Adam. No, me.
Adam skip.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay. Go on. Hello. Good evening and welcome. How's everyone doing? My name's 007. I'm coming to you live from Tenerife on the west coast of Africa.
Lovely.
I don't really have any much news for you, except what I've been discussing with Roxanne. So I'm in a funny mood. It's, what time is it now? It's quarter past one.
It's a 1:15. Yes. We've got lots of hello in the chat room. Adam and Near and Double. We've got Mark Sargent in the chat room. Most of the west coast is gone. What the werewolf army zombies cleaned up.
We'll say hi to John as well. John in Really Woke Reports, because we've got 2 streams going now, haven't we, Roxanne? We've stepped up.
We have. We're streaming on 2 channels, Adam and Near. We're actually streaming on the Really Woke channel and this channel as well. So we've got 2 streams going on. So hello to everyone in both chat rooms. In the one that I can see in front of me, I don't know, you can keep an eye on the other one, Double. We've got Thomasina, we've got Amanda H, we've got Mark Sargent, Jane of Torquay, lovely to see you all. Dividante, Billy Boy. We've also got Really Woke Reports in the chat room as well. William, lovely to see you. Astro King, Jessica, thank you so much for being here. Man Bear Pig. Okay, sorry. I was thinking, what is going on there?
That's our friend in Australia, who I was talking to you about earlier, who sent the photograph that I'm going to show that
photograph. Yeah, we are. We're going to show that photograph. Thank you so much.
That's our these are boots on the ground in Australia, as well as Kieran. I guess we've got Kieran as well.
Correct.
We haven't spoken to Kieran about coming on the show.
Yeah. Correct. So shout out to you too. We've got Japan in the chat room, and Jin CBR1. Thank you so much. And yeah, we've got him in the chat room too. Soul Stimuli in the chat room as well. FPV is in the chat room. Oik is in the chat room as well. And John Thinkpad, Marilyn as well. Lovely to see you too, my darling. And anyone, Eric De Leon, he's popped out. Hopefully he'll be back in a bit. And Abdullah as well. Lovely to see you. And Annette Shirley from St. Louis. Lovely to see you. Pat Wright as well. Lovely to see you. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. It's really great to see you all here. So hopefully I haven't missed. Globebusters is there as well. Lovely to see you, Bob. Paul Muir as well. Sean Becker as well. Paul from Newcastle. Anyone else I've missed? It's brilliant to see you all here. We've got a few things that we want to talk about tonight. I want to talk about my personal experience this week with the whole madness that's going on. I've got 2 children, 17-year-old and a 12-year-old. I've been trying to navigate the situation as best I can. And I think some of you that view me already may know that I've followed the QAnon situation since WikiLeaks went down. QAnon started on the 28th of October, 2017. That was a memorable day for me because that was my son's birthday. So I've been looking into that for the last few years, as well as being on my pursuit of truth with not being on a spinning ball and NASA lying and, you know, the puppets creating a situation that's just not very nice for us all to live in, really. So I'm no real different from any other person. I've just been on my pursuit of truth, looking into the things I've been looking at, spending the time researching, going out there and talking to people and trying to bring you guys along with it. I'm going live tonight because I've seen a situation develop this week that has actually caused, I think, as much division in the truth community as some of the other said situations that we've gone through in the last few months. We've had people become completely divided for all the wrong reasons. We've got a bunch of people accusing other people of being fearmongers. We've got other people accusing other people of jumping on bandwagons and this, that, and the other. And to be fair, we're all just in pursuit of the truth, whatever the truth is, whether it sits with our narrative or not, whether it's convenient or not, whether it's what we anticipated it to be, whether we had managed our expectations or not, or whether we'd had, you know, specific ideas of whatever things were going to lead to, whatever outcomes were going to happen. So I want to tell you right now that I'm sitting here talking to you about things that didn't sit with my narrative, didn't agree with me, made me feel quite triggered, made me feel quite upset, quite annoyed, quite frustrated. So I want you to know, if you're feeling like that, you're not on your own, because I felt pretty powerless earlier on in the week. I saw a situation develop. I myself live in London, which is the capital city of this country. You would think London would be well equipped to deal with any situation that's thrown at us. But again, the people, whether it's people like us or people that are indifferent and don't think the same way that we think, I've become very disillusioned with the community spirit of things. I don't know if that resonates with anyone else that's watching. If you live in areas where you've definitely felt well, actually, I'll use the words. I've already felt the social distancing that's been going on since the beginning of the week, since I took my children to school on Monday morning. I felt it from then. I came on YouTube earlier on in the week to talk about it. I made community posts to talk about it. And in my comment section, you go and familiarize yourself with it yourself. You can see people are clearly divided. People are being divisive, argumentative, condescending, passive aggressive, you name it. Because I've taken some pictures of some empty shelves. I've taken some pictures of empty shelves in my local area over 5 days, and I personally have been accused of fear-mongering. So I'm here to tell you I'm not fear-mongering. I'm merely reporting on what's going on in my local area. Trust me when I tell you, had my shelves been full, had all my shops been calm, cool, and collected, you would have seen pictures of a calm, cool, collected shop, fully stocked, everything hunky-dory. I really wish my area was like Dolly's area. I really wish I'd walked into my supermarket on Monday and everything had been cool, calm, and collected, but it wasn't. And it still isn't, even right up to late this afternoon when I went into a Costco, of all places, a Costco, somewhere where you can't just walk in. You've got to be a member, the whole 9 yards. And I then interviewed a guy that worked there. So shout out to the guy that spoke to me. He didn't have to, and he did. So I appreciate that. And that I will show you later on. So I want your 2 cents worth, wherever you're living on this international plane of existence. What is going on in your local area? Has this situation affected you? Hasn't it? I would like to see some kind of feedback. So press 1 if this ongoing COVID-19 disinformation campaign has affected you and your local area. Press 2 if it hasn't affected you. I yield the floor. Who would like to speak next? I do have lots more to say, but you know me, why use one word when I can use 1,000? So I will. I'm going to
let one of these two. I'm going to let one of our 2 guests speak because neither of them had a chance yet. I think Nia wants to speak.
Which one?
Go on,
where does my hand go? There. There.
Good. So yes, to say how it influenced me, I just got from a party today. Usually we have like a place packed. Today there were like 10 people over there. Still, there was a good party. But but yeah. Besides that, we also, like in Israel, have this corona virus. I don't know,
Right.
agenda going on over here. The thing is that it gets into all kinds of like waves. with how the media treats that. There are days that they're saying it's like we have a whole epidemic over here. We need to shut everything down, and day afterwards saying, hey, maybe we just a little bit more stressed out or something like that. It keep changing the tone every couple of days. It's also like related to the elections that we had this week in Israel. So you can see like in the media that you speak about corona like 3-4
Well,
days
I don't know if BB helped, because BB said on Saturday that today that it was a pandemic and it's more severe than any disease outbreak in the past century. A senior official said that Israel was likely hours away from placing restrictions on flights.
Yeah.
So it looks like whether it's the virus or not, the lockdown seems to be affecting your country already.
Yeah, but it doesn't like being made in kind of like observant way.
Yeah.
Meaning like for instance, we had like a football match, okay, about 10 days ago. It's a really big soccer match of two big teams in Israel, and in one of the gates in the Bluefield Stadium, there was one guy that was a carrier of corona or whatever, and.
Yep.
Only after 10 days later, they kind of like informed everyone that he was over there. And then they called all the people with the season tickets with that gate and told them to be in lockdown. But the stupid thing is that they're like, it happened 10 days afterwards. So they had to contact also the people that contact those 6,000 people.
Yeah.
Okay. And they couldn't really manage that to doing that. Okay. It's like, impossible. So they just let it go. Okay, they just said, oh, it's not that it mattered that he was over there. We probably didn't got anyone or something like that. But it's so stupid. Anyway, I do think that it's stupid because it's not real. Okay, it's not real in the sense of it's not different from regular flu. I think that from what I saw, I know in the media with all kinds of hints that I'm getting that it usually hurts elderly men and people with low immune system, and for me, what it looks like just another flu, but with a different name and with another a different exposed to it in the media. Okay. Meaning the whole capacity of this coronavirus, okay, is actually what the media gives it, and what the government is acting to it. Okay, it's not that the virus is actually real and happening and hurting people and all of that. It's just like the name that they're giving about. The name that they're giving.
This is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, this is what we're trying to say. Exactly what we're trying to say. Listen, even the World Health Organization stated, look, we need everyone to play. We need everyone. It was like they were looking at the camera going, are you listening? You better start playing this game that we're playing and make out your country's got this so we can bring the lockdown to your front door. And even this evening, as of 9 o'clock this evening, your country has now stated that 25 Israelis are currently known to be infected with the virus. The latest 4 whom were announced on Saturday evening. One of the 25, a bus driver who apparently ferried Greek pilgrims who later turned out to be infected with the virus, is in a serious condition. The patient is 38 years old and apparently is fighting for his life. Your Prime Minister said. I'm saying this. All I'm doing is read, and I just want to put a disclaimer.
I was in the party. I remember. I want to remind that.
Yeah. I'm only regurgitating the narrative. Please don't think I'm believing what's being said, but so we can show you both sides. And this is what
we need to make this very clear, don't we?
Fear-mongering.
We need to make this very clear for everybody that's watching us. We're just reporting on the narrative that's being given to us, and what we're seeing with our own eyes.
Yeah,
that's all we're doing. We're not trying to fearmonger. We're trying to give you really woke reports.
This would be a good point to get.
What they're trying to tell us.
This would be a good point to get Adam's opinion on this.
Yes,
Adam, in your what is the word I'm looking for? In your professional? Can we have your
catchment?
professional opinion on it, please? We've got a professional pharmacist on the panel tonight who's studied for a medical degree. Am I right in that?
Pharmacy, I have a
Is it
degree in
pharmacologist?
Pharmacist.
No,
Oh,
pharmacology.
Are you a
That's, hey, look,
pharmacologist?
don't start upsetting me. Pharmacology's a knockdown. Yeah, we do pharmacology and some. So no, I just prefer.
We don't know that. We're only muggers.
We're not qualified. We're not qualified. You are. You are the qualified one here.
Well, let me give you the qualified opinion then. So
please, yeah.
I'm a chemist, pharmacist. So if anybody's poorly, sick, possibly mildly infected with corona, and let me start by saying, I don't have some corona boner. Fundamentally, I'm not engaged in any panic.
Can we just stop? That was brilliant. That's the first time I've heard it, and that's perfect.
Yeah, I like that. I don't have a corona boner.
I have no corona boner.
I just got it right now. Okay. Took me a while. Okay, yeah.
But if anybody's sick or whatever, that before they would get diagnosed, and that's an interesting point maybe we could get to later, where are they going to report? They're going to rock up at the chemist, either them or the family members.
Yeah.
And I've stood there for a week or two or more, and you won't see me with a face mask on. I should probably get to face masks and the nonsense they are. But if anybody's going to get and be susceptible to it, it'd be like pharmacy teams, people coming in with those mild symptoms before it's diagnosed and then spreading it. I don't think any of my team or myself are particularly worried. I think with all types of common cold infections, good hygiene is the most important thing, that you wash your hands.
Yeah.
Not run out and buy 15 bottles of hand gel. As I've been telling people this week, when I've got no hand gel,
wash your hands with soapy water.
Nothing wrong. See over there, a bar of pears over there, mate. Get your hands around that. Yeah, absolutely fine. And maybe just come. It's disgusting what's going off, and I'm not. I'm just not engaging in it. But face masks have gone up. Those paper face masks have gone up from 10p to £9. And there's a lot of profiteering going off in this, and there's a lot of money being made in this. I think both on the opportunistic level, but I think if you talk about the shelf clearages and the likes, then there's a lot of corporate money being made. There's a lot of public money being kind of freed up into the system. Lots of £7 or £8 per person across a nation, and seeing those shelves is a hell of a lot of money for a desperate system. And maybe there's more motivation in terms of what we see with regards to the fear mongering, which is not commensurate with the medical information. And like you, I'm subjected to all the nonsense as well. I was at a football match this morning, Rox, and the lads weren't allowed to do their normal shaking of hands.
Yeah, they had to do the elbow touch, was it?
I've texted him. I've texted him a little gif of the Chinese way of doing it, which is the old foot click.
Yeah,
I think it's after the SARS, but so
not wrong with that.
Yeah, but I've also had a pharmacist to contact me this week going, you're a bit of a conspiracist. What's going off? Why is everybody going so mental?
Mental, chicken oriental.
Yeah, look, I don't know what it is they're purporting, but from my understanding, this is a similar common cold virus. It's, if it has any unique things, because we're yet to see any great cases, any real case studies. We're just given information about its symptoms, which match up with the old Dean Koontz book. But what's novel about it is you talked about flu. It's nowhere near in the effects of flu. From my understanding, it's just like a normal cold, but towards or after what you would assume is the standard, well into the recovery period of a standard cold, there appears to be fluid retention within the lungs, which occurs. And what this, you, Rox, it's not really a problem for most healthy people. It might then start to make you feel at the energy levels that flu would have, and that's because your available oxygen content goes down. But like I say, this is just debilitating for most of us, like flu. But those vulnerables, you know, very young, the very old, those with pulmonary issues, they're obviously going to be more affected by this, and this is where the mortality rates are coming in. But that's exactly the same as a common cold. Less, more significant than that, but significantly less of a mortality rate than flu with regards to this. And I think that's the trouble that my medic friends are having, is seeing the level of paranoia and fear porn is not commensurate with what we're being told as medics, that what we're supposed to be dealing with.
I think I really think where we're at with this, right? And this is just my opinion. All right, take it or leave it. Take it with a pinch of salt. I think when we look at the numbers, right, of the amount of people that are dying, we've got people speculating. We're being given some kind of numbers, which again, a bit like the radius of the globe, just alarms me. As soon as we're given specific numbers, I just think, why are we being given any numbers at all? And with that being said, I do want to say, I'm sure more people have died falling down the stairs every day. Right? And I'm not saying the numbers. What number? I mean, Adam, I'm wondering if more people died of cancer today than this. So what is it about? And I just want to state, I don't believe the narrative. I'm going to keep saying this all the way through, just in case people have just come in. I might even put a banner on the bottom. Roxanne does not believe the narrative. I don't want to speak for anyone else. Me and Double, definitely. I do not believe the narrative. If people are dying, then I believe that it's going to be, no, let me just be very careful about how I say this, right?
No, Rox,
my condolences for those that have died. If it's a self-evident truth that people have died, then my condolences go to those people and their families, because that's absolutely horrendous. And I fear that those people might be used as collateral damage to perpetuate a massive disinformation campaign that is, I feel there's a military op, a silent war is being gone on right now. There's a military op ongoing right now that is going on under the guise of this COVID-19 madness. Biggest disinformation campaign in modern human history. I think that's what we're witnessing right now. And I feel like we're only going to ever have proof, like the lotto. You know, when you hear about people winning the lottery, you never actually know if that's legit or not.
You never actually know anybody that's won the jackpot.
Does anyone know
anyone
that's won the jackpot? I don't.
Myself and Roxanne sat there. When was it, Rox? When we sat there, what was it, this morning or yesterday morning? We sat there watching the news for comms, trying to see what the main narrative was saying. And the doctor sat there giving these statistics and these numbers. And at the end of it, he ends up saying, actually, really here in England, less than 1% of elderly people at risk. It might be up to 3%, but he thinks less than 1% is actually dying of this. And that is less than the flu. That's less than the mortality rate of flu. So what
are we supposed to take from that? When we're being given numbers, I feel that's
when we're being told it's ridiculous, because we sat there and listened to him, and what he basically said was, lots of people are catching colds and flus, because he was calling it coronavirus, not COVID-19. Lots of people are catching colds and flus, and maybe 1% of them might die. But we're going to close we're going to close the country down anyway. That's what I heard.
If you're looking at numbers, I think with any kind of outbreak, and it's interesting how this diagnosis is being made. I'm not sure they've got a corona scanner. So what would be necessary to actually confirm would be cultures, I would assume.
Adam,
yeah,
you know that the coronaviruses refer to all cold and flu. So every time they say coronavirus,
yeah, but that's the COVID-19 aspect of it, right?
This is the point I'm trying to get to. So, in terms of the epidemiology, the kind of data gathering that will be going off now, and the numbers that you'll be reporting, what you'll be seeing if you're looking at mortalities will be taking similar symptoms and then ascribing them to that. That kind of happened in the last measles outbreak, where actually only about 20% of the reported cases turned out to be measles. So any kind of skin rashes, it's measles because there's a measles outbreak, and they're the figures that get reported. So even now, and this isn't scaremongering, this is just general application of any early analysis of in epidemiology, is that you must be very careful of early diagnoses in terms of actually having them confirmed, particularly if you're trying to ascribe it to a particular virulent strain of something. Then it's fine to initially document the death as cause of death, respiratory failure or something like that, suspected COVID-19. But to actually confirm that, it's going to take time. And for me, I'm sure there would have to be much more additional work done to kind of validate the numbers. And I say fundamentally what tends to happen in scares like this is it's the subconscious of medics will tend to say, if this person's died of maybe they did have a cold, well, we'll write it up like this because it seems the correct thing. This is what's going about. This is so long term. I would suggest the numbers will decrease significantly. And for me, that's why you have to be very careful in terms of paying any real credence to the numbers that they're giving you at the moment. What's more interesting is the distribution, or the very slow rate of distribution.
That's the thing that's really concerning me, is if it is as serious as it is, if it is economically and internationally as serious as this is, it's, my dad always used to say it's all about the timing. It's all about the timing. And if this is going to be the international humdrum that it's being billed as being, and we've got certain countries holding it back, certain countries looking left, certain countries looking right, certain countries looking for a signal, I feel like whether it's a simultaneous action or a domino effect, when you look at the perfect storm, right, with this, what would you have to do to get everybody to do as they're told and stay in their house when they're told to, right? If we look at what's going on with Lombardy, right, just now, yeah, the whole region, right, has been put on lockdown. Okay, they've locked down Lombardy after a jump, right? But my point is, they're create order out of chaos, right? Create a situation so that you can do things and impose things that don't seem too out of the ordinary, right? So with the coronavirus jump, with the narrative of the coronavirus jump, they are now imposing a new decree, right? That's a virtual lockdown on its wealthiest and most populous region, funnily enough, right? Which jumps and includes the financial capital of Milan, right? And this is their apparent tough new measure to combat COVID-19. The new rules include telling people not to enter or leave Lombardy, which is home to about 10 million people, right? as well as 11 provinces in 4 of Italy's 19 other regions. Yeah. So this is, I mean, if this is a drill, this is a drill that's involving 10 million people. Let's just all think about that for a second. Okay. Forget COVID-19, forget the virus. The lockdown in Lombardy is a self-evident truth. It's happening, and it's happening to about 10 million people. Okay. We've already had smaller test bits of these lockdowns that have been look to me like R&D, research and development. Let's see how we do this. Right. That didn't really work. Right. When we do it in a bigger bit, we'll do it like that. Is the world watching? Right. Pay attention, because you guys are going to be doing this next. It's almost like someone watching someone change a nappy for the first time. Did you see what order we did that in? Now we want you to do it. And then they're passing the baton. And then the next country's going, right, be aware, social distancing's coming. Okay. And now here's we are. Sorry. I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize my camera was still on Adam. My bad. Sorry to have you on there like that. So
I don't think you're far off, Rox. I think there's a lot more coming.
There definitely is a lot more coming. But I'm saying, if we're looking at what's going on now, Adam, if we're looking at what's going on right now, what the self-evident truth of what right now is going on, I'm going to play everybody a little excerpt from something that was put out about 35 minutes before we went live. I took the liberty of recording it on my phone because I thought it was quite interesting what this girl says. So I won't visually show you all. I'll just play it. 3, 2, 1.
Is to implement new measures to deal with the outbreak here. Our political reporter Kate McCann joins me now from Westminster. And Kate, what exactly is the government planning at this stage?
Well, the government is proposing a series of new measures if this outbreak moves on and escalates to the pandemic stage. Perhaps the biggest one of those is that 3 million experienced volunteers who already give their time for free to the NHS and social care will get a guarantee from the government that their main employment will be protected for up to 4 weeks. Now, the purpose of that is to free them up to support the health service when it tries to tackle what could become a crisis for frontline healthcare workers. Alongside that, there will be measures to introduce video conferencing in courts if this does escalate to the next stage, the delay stage. At the moment, the government is putting extra staff into the 111 phone line service, 500.
Bear with me.
What a sack of shit.
Line service, 500 more call centre staff to deal with the number of people who are calling in with symptoms. We know there'll be a COBRA meeting on Monday. We know there'll be further departmental meetings, particularly around supermarkets and food supply chains. There will also be possible measures to allow supermarkets to take deliveries out of hours, and potentially too to look at competition rules to allow them to share information on where food is around the country. We know tonight the Telegraph is reporting that Tesco has started to ration some food, including UHT milk and pasta, because people have been panic buying. The government has an eye on what is happening now, and it's putting extra money into the health service. Matt Hancock says it will do all it can, so does the Chancellor, to ensure the economy is supported. But it's also got an eye on what happens next too. We're not quite at that stage yet, but ministers are very aware that it could happen quickly, and they're preparing for when it does.
Yes.
So I highly doubt people are taking it upon themselves to start being fearful when they're being told things like that on the media. It's no surprise. I'm talking about the muggles, by the way. I'm not talking about awake people. I'm talking about muggles. Just a disclaimer for anyone who's just joined the chat. I do not believe the narrative that is being told about COVID-19. I think it's being used as a guise for a military op that's going on internationally to take out Kabul. If you are in a country or a region and you're told to stay in that region, and you're told, I just think, as a reassurance, I would say if you see heightened military movements in your area, it's for your protection. I don't think it's because of the COVID-19. I think there's going to be collateral damage, and it'll be used. The COVID-19 will be used as a reason why people are dying, and that's about as far as it goes.
I wouldn't view it that there's something positive happening, unfortunately. As I view it, I mean, what I see at the moment is just kind of contingency testing from the state. So they're seeing how pliable people are. They're seeing what's required, how many buttons they have to press to get us to ram raid the shops, how many buttons they have to press to ensure that we are fully in fear, whether that's pricing structures and the way they're, as you hear,
I think it's a scare
set in
tactic
ways.
that's necessary, Adam. I think this scare tactic is necessary to put the population internationally under control so that they will do as they're told and stay out of the way.
And
when
I
they're
think
told
that's
to
what
stay
they're
out of the way.
testing. What's required in each country for the mass populace to be compliant with what the state requires. That's what's being ascertained right now. I'd love to think it was because they were rounding up a shitload of pedos, but I think genuinely
it goes a lot deeper than just
this
pedos, though. We're talking about the infrastructure that's held down the system we live in for absolutely decades. We're talking about the cabal. We're talking about the ruling elite. We're talking about the puppet masters. We're talking about the people that have perpetuated the lie about us living on a spinning ball. We're talking about the trifecta of fuckeries that holds down the reality. So we're definitely not just talking about paedophiles. We're talking
what I didn't mean that. What I meant was,
I'm saying for the chat room, just as a disclaimer, so that they know.
I mean,
anyone
this
coming
is
in.
not for me. I'd love it to be a subterfuge for some kind of operation for humanity, to put it that way. But genuinely, it just feels to me that it is the cabal testing how much control they have left, what they can do, what they can get away with, and if anything, still threatening those places that you hope do exist.
And that's what makes this beautiful. That's what makes it beautiful, because everyone here has got different opinions. Where you think it's the cabal stress testing, I feel I've looked at too much supporting evidence to say it's the cabal that are fighting for their lives. And this stress test that you're looking at is the silent war that's being fought. It's 20% public, 80% covert, and the overspill is what COVID-19 is. They've accounted for the overspill. If you look at Defender Europe 2020, biggest military op in 25 years, nearly 40,000 people are involved in it over a massive amount of area. Just look into it. It's called Defender Europe 2020. It's just one of the major ops going on right now, which gives them perfect reason to be placed where they are, to take out covertly the people they're taking out. I feel like we're looking at more support. If you look at the CEOs and the high flyer walkaways, the resignations, the notable deaths that's going on right now, everything points to the deep state being completely disarmed, not them getting any stronger. You're looking at them being raised to the surface like they've never been raised to the surface before right now. If you really do look at the international climate of things, well, you look at the situation with Antifa and how they've been allowed to do what they're doing. You look at the Hong Kong protests, what they were protesting against in the first place. Remember, they were protesting against the social credit system until Antifa got involved. And they started fighting for their lives. We were warned by Hong Kong, support us or be us. Now you got everyone buying £9 masks. It's crazy.
Roxanne, do you want any report from Israel this week about elections and stuff?
Go for it.
Yeah,
go for it. Tell us what BB's been up to this week.
BB, we had like the third election in Israel that happened in the last year. And quite dramatically, I remember that I was interviewing you before the elections, and I was quite skeptical that this time it will go either side, and I was correct. Still no results, still a dead end. Still there's like one government, one party.
How long's that been for now, Nia? How long's that been for? No real sort of resolution.
First election were in April 2019, and then on September, and now on March. I really thought that it will be the ones that will be decisive, because their actual results were given in the 3rd of March. Okay, the 3rd of March, the third election. Anyway, but they didn't. Kind of like Bibi got the most of the votes, but it still doesn't. It's not sufficient for him to construct a government. But all of this thing is just like the coronavirus. Okay, they're producing news about something which is not really happening. Okay, and I'm talking about this campaign and this politics, okay, the thing is, I think that both sides are being controlled by the same side, and I think that also, like, you have Benjamin Netanyahu is one of the head Freemasons, whatever, and from the other side you have the controlled opposition puppet Benny Gantz that they brought over to. I think that even Bibi chose him to be his rival, okay, because he was so convenient. He like stutters all the time and saying foolish stuff. So he told everyone, "Yeah, I want this Benny Gantz dude. I will compete with him with free elections. It will be super easy." Anyway. But the one who's like, I know, want this the situation to happen, is still maintaining the situation in Israel, is one that doesn't care that the country is has very financial damages because of these elections. Like, every time, like all the institutes are not functioning, and don't worry, the government members are still getting their paycheck. That's fine, okay, but still, lots of things are not moving in Israel because of that, and also it's lots of like expenses for every to do like free elections in a year. So, but the one who really wants this thing to happen, he has this very certain cause, and this certain cause, why is it like happened 3 times, maybe now 4 times? I don't know. It's because every election, not just in Israel, but every election, you could certainly see the one in the United States, the last one that was. It's just the immediate result is that the country is being divided. Okay, being divided, being one side left, one side right, and that's the way it goes. Now, in Israel, it's kind of like, as I told you, both of them are like controlling the same side. But besides that, it's I think I talked about the division. I'm sorry, I got confused a little bit. I talked about the division between the two people, between left and right. Now, the thing is that the one who wanted these elections to happen 3 times, he wanted that the people would be divided 3 times. To create this kind of like demonic, apocalyptic situation that we don't have a government. Now, in Israel, the word of political party is called miflaga, and it comes from the root of peleg. Peleg, it's like a stream, like a channel, and lefaleg is to divide, okay? Is to divide. So the word a political party comes from the word division. You like divide yourself with someone else. No. So my point is that someone really wanted this division to be hard in this critical moment, okay? And I don't know if it's like related to the coronavirus or what. I don't know. Someone really wanted that in this critical point that we don't have government, the people will be super divided, and this is why they repeated it 3 times. And this week, I kind of like advocated in my show. I had something like 5-6 interviews with different people, which all like were joined up in the message: "Don't go voting, don't go voting." And I voted myself since I'm like 18, and this is the first time I decided not to vote. And it's all the reasoning that I heard in this show really opened my eyes. I remember people telling me that, yeah, it's just all fake. They're like trying to get money out of you, and you just should like promise them the vote. They were like pretty much stressed about people going to vote, okay? Because I think they're feeling the the rug of democracy being pulled out of their feet or something like that. People are, I guess, the people who are controlling everything, they have this sense that something is the people are starting to witness and see what is, peeping below their shirt or whatever. And I think that this is why they show all these kind of like commercials on television before the elections of teenagers and kids with crying eyes, tearing eyes, telling their parents not to dismiss their right to vote and to go voting because they're super stressed about it. And I even like in this show, someone told me that the actual voting, okay, I don't know how it's like in England, but in here you go behind like the curtain and you have like notes, okay, of the parties, and you put them into an envelope and then you put it into the ballot box.
Pretty much the same everywhere. Voting's voting anyway. Yeah.
Someone told
I'll
me
be
that-
honest. Disclaimer: I don't vote.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Anyway, someone told me that the actual action, okay, of picking up the note, putting it in the envelope, and putting it in the box, it's a satanic ritual. Okay, it is a satanic ritual. I will explain. It's kind of like to signify, okay, that first of all, it's an action that you do to signify, okay, that you have them under your control. Okay, here you see, I'm voting. Now I'm yours. You can do anything with me.
Yeah, it's a bit like the law, standing under the law. You know, it's whether you're
No,
going to stand to it.
for instance, in Jewish marriage, okay, Jewish marriage, when you sign the bill of the marriage, okay, the ketubah, which is called in Hebrew, you need to do like a ceremony when you lift up something valuable, okay. In my wedding, I lift up a cell phone, okay, and then it kind of like signifies that it's it's legit, it's like approved, whatever, that you do this ceremony, okay, of lifting up this thing. This is the exact same thing that you're doing with the cards, okay, with the notes in the ballot box. So it's kind of like all related to this control mechanism, this thing that we have to cope here in Israel. But we'll see what happens. Fourth elections, pretty much predicted, or someone would get a sense to do something else. I don't know, but I guess I think that if someone would want to resolve the situation, it would have been resolved from the get-go on the first elections. Meaning, we got this party that kind of like switched from the right-wing parties to the left-wing parties because they didn't want to sit down with the religious parties. And this looks like such a non-related reason, such a cover-up for just creating this chaos. Okay, just creating.
Well, you know what? Now that you've just mentioned chaos, I'll mention a little bit more chaos that's just come up as well. I've just got word that New York has declared a state of emergency. So what's everyone's thoughts on that? The US death toll has now risen to 19, and New York has just declared an emergency. 2 more people have succumbed to the virus in Washington state. And now they've declared emergency in New York. So what does everyone make of that? New York's now declared a state of emergency. So what's good? Talk to me, everyone. What's good? Where do we go with that? Does everyone just keep kind of being passive about this until it gets to their front door and they're told, yeah, bang, it's now affecting you? Because, well, you know, or do we just kind of go? I mean, I'm at a bit of a juxtaposition with this. I'm doing what, you know. Talk to me. Chat room. Anyone? Interesting times. That's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing.
I think it's a good time.
By the way, I'm getting this boots on the ground. Sorry, go on, bruv. Yeah.
I think this is a good time to bring up what I was talking about in my video that I uploaded earlier about what sort of person you are. Whoever it is that's listening right now, what sort of person are you? Like, because I mean, it's a self-evident truth that in some areas people are panic buying, and whether the virus is true or not, whether it's really as bad as they say it is, or they're not saying it is, or whatever, it looks like lockdown's coming. So if lockdown comes, and you're one of these people that has been saying to everybody, it's just a load of, it's a load of rubbish, it's all going to blow over, there's a load of rubbish, but secretly you've stockpiled and you've seen yourself okay. What are you going to do if it gets to the situation where there are people who weren't in a position to stockpile? Well, let's fast forward this to a lockdown. There's no real medical threat to anybody. They're just restricting everybody's movement for whatever reason. and you can't get to the shops, so you've either stockpiled or you haven't. And if you're somebody that's stockpiled, are you somebody that's going to hoard all that stuff for yourself and your friends and your family or whatever, or just for the people in the house? If we're confined to our houses, are you going to hoard all that to yourself? Are you going to try and make sure that, you know, if there's somebody that needs it and you have it, are you going to share it with them, whether they're your friend or you know them or not? What sort of a human being are you? Are you the sort of person, if you haven't stockpiled, are you the sort of person that says, do you know what? I don't need to stockpile. I'm an American. I've got a gun. I'll just take what I need. Are you that sort of person? Because there are a lot of them around. I think Mark Sargent can corroborate that, because I know I watched the live stream with him where he was talking about, he was only discussing basic prepping. He wasn't fear mongering
and
or
kind of
anything.
blase mentioned, well, don't worry, I've got a gun or something. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and somebody just said to him, yeah, I'm not really, and he said it wasn't just one person that said it to him, was it?
No.
It was like 10 people said it to him. And he was thinking, is that how it is now? That, well, it's okay, you got a gun, you can just take what you need. Is that the sort of person that you are? Because I've been thinking about this. If I was in a position to be able to stockpile, and I have actually been buying extra water, if I was in a position to be able to stockpile, I'm going to share it with whoever needs it. Like, because I can't bear the thought of me being okay and other people not being okay. Whether they're friends or not, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because we are all in this boat together. And what we're meant to do, united we stand, divided we fall. And at the moment, we're all divided and everybody's hoarding for themselves.
Yeah.
They're not even really worried about themselves.
They also stated that people were online shopping so that they weren't seen to be.
Exactly. Yeah. Are you that sort of person listening to this now? You are not talking necessarily to the chat room, because I know most of the chat room is pretty cool, and the guys here, you're all cool. I know that Roxanne isn't even in a position to be able to stockpile. I'm not in a position to be able to stockpile. I've had 3 nights off, lost 3 nights' wages, and I'm somebody that lives week to week, almost day to day. I juggle my cash. My cash flow is a terrible thing.
I'm going to share my screen while we're talking about this, because I'm going to show you guys something with a bit of luck, and you guys will hear it and see it. So hopefully this will work. So if I share my screen and that's all looking like that, hopefully you'll see this now. So that was that I'm not going to show you, and that was that there's no need for me. I'll go back to that. I'll go back to that. So hold on. Okay, so Rich, can you see the screen? Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, Rich, this was from your pal over in Australia.
This is from Man Bear Pig. Thank you very much, dude.
Yeah, and this is his local shop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cleared out.
And he also shared that news report, didn't he? We should play that.
Yeah.
That's gone on to mainstream, isn't it? Onto our mainstream. Sky News, you were saying, has featured it, I think. Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. That's right. Yeah, they have. This was me in Costco today at about 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Hand wash, I think it's on the 12th, but at the front they have a sheet for all of that. I just went to vote on Monday here. What about the Wembley one? I'm not sure about the Wembley, but I just know here. I know that they're trying to deliver to other stores tomorrow, and then they'll come back to us. So maybe Wembley might be tomorrow. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, so it's all sold out. It's only one. Yeah. So normally it's all there, but it's been sold out like crazy this whole week. Yeah, because he got panic buying for the virus, so it's been really.
But I noticed that Sainsbury's was out.
Yeah, I think most of the places are out of stock.
Costco's would be out of stock.
Yeah, because people panic buy. So only I think yesterday they put a limit one per brand. Because I know Thursday they were five because some people took so many.
Are you serious?
So I think yesterday they put a limit, but it's still sold out.
People were
Like
fighting.
yeah, 'cause I think I heard someone had like 10 almost finally getting over or something. That's me for yesterday, one per person per brand per card.
Wow.
But it's still sold out. Even today, like yesterday to the opening, the first 15 minutes, like 200 people, 250, 270. So it's been going like crazy.
I wouldn't have thought that for Costco.
I wouldn't have, but it's been like that this whole week.
All right, darling. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You're the crack. Well, I'm in the trailer.
Okay, so this is Costco, and they've got no toilet paper. They've sold out their whole department. It's Costco. And this one was taken in Sainsbury's. There's one bottle of Sainsbury's water left there, just one. No peas, no broccoli, no veg, no long life milk. That's my Sainsbury's there. That's Sainsbury's as well. Flour.
Can I just say? Yeah, can I just say something? Because I think it's Marilyn. I've just had a look, and I think it's Marilyn she's just reminded me of something that occurred to me today.
Go for it.
Because I think I mentioned it to you, didn't I, Rox? If people aren't panic buying at all, they're not even buying online, maybe they're holding back stock.
I'm starting to think that too. I'm starting thinking the shops are taking
create panic because what they want is civil unrest.
Well, I told you.
I think maybe that's a big possibility. So. They might just be holding stock. They might be withholding it from the actual, the store might obviously the regional manager, whatever, might not know anything about it at all. They interrupt the supply chain and hold back the stock. And they want some sort of civil unrest because then that will give them that'll just be that's the chaos order out of chaos right there.
Yeah.
If they create this possible pandemic, the suspected pandemic, and then they actually deliberately interrupt supply chains to withhold.
I'm living in an area.
People aren't even panic buying.
Rich, I'm in South West London, and no one says they're panicked yet. All the shops are sold out. How is that
exactly
possible?
So either everybody's a scumbag, either everybody's a sly scumbag and they're lying, they're putting a face on. No, neither do I. I don't want to believe that either.
I don't want to believe people are looking me in my face. Listen, I'm telling you, I'm not walking past people that have got 10 bags of toilet roll in their freaking trolleys. I've not seen one person all week. Even me, I bought a little bit of extra stock earlier on in the week. Couple of extra bags of toilet roll, a few extra tins, few like the multi-packs of water. I didn't go OTT on it, but for aisles, even the dog food, right? I've only got a little dog, little Kenny, okay? Kenny doesn't need that much food. Kenny's little 3-4 pound pack lasts him quite a while. So me thinking, all right, I'll get an extra little 3-4 pound pack, right? So instead of getting 2, I'll get 1. There's no option for me to do that. So then I've got to move up to the bigger bag that's £7.50. There's none of those either. So what have I got to do now? I've got to get a bag that's £13 because it's only a big 10 kg bag. Do I want that one? No, not particularly. But everyone else has rinsed it, or have they?
Have you got the 10 quid? Really? Have you got that extra 10 quid to spend? Like that's the thing. You're only going to spend 3.
More money for other things. So yeah.
That extra 10 quid is less that you're spending on yourself for food.
Yeah, I've seen the same, Marilyn. Nothing really abnormal in zone 1 and 2, but as soon as you come out into the more suburban areas, zone 3, 4, 5, 6, like I said, I'm in Richmond and Twickenham, and the Costco that I went to is in Sunbury. So the Costco there, and they said the Costco in Wembley is a bit doubtful as well. So I thought, I've got a broad spectrum. I've been to Tesco, Asda, and I've got another little video there that's from Aldi. You can't get anything in Aldi either. It's all gone. So
can I just say, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons that I'm not panicking about this is it's not just because of the fact that I can't see it here. Nobody's really panic buying here.
No, and this is the thing. There seems to be pockets of panic.
Yeah.
Pockets of panic and absolute swaves of calm.
lots of people obviously comment on my weight and the fact that I look a little bit skeletal at the moment because I'm not eating really. I've chosen to seriously reduce the amount of food that I eat, mainly because of what I'm worried about, what I'm actually putting in my body. I'm worried about what I'm putting in my stomach, and I'm going off meat. It's a natural thing. It's not something that I really wanted, but I'm going off meat. So at the moment, I'm getting by living on absolute bare minimum anyway. So this situation is not too daunting for me, even if it did get to the point where there was really bugger all to live on, because I'm pretty certain that I would be able to go out and no, I can't go out. Crap. If they put damn it. Yeah, no, I can't go out and forage. But anyway, I'll eat cardboard. It's okay. I'll eat some bricks. I'll get by.
It's harsh. It is. It's harsh. It's harsh. It's harsh, the situation that we're all in, because, you know, I asked questions this evening on my community section, and thank you to so many people that have commented on it. But, you know, who does control the narrative? Who is it that's controlling the narrative in general? Does anyone have any ideas?
Well, who's controlling the narrative that's going to the mainstream? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Or who's controlling the narrative that's going to the public?
To the
Because
public.
obviously the mainstream it's the mainstream. The mainstream are trying to control the narrative, but from the people that I've spoken to on the streets, and the English people here on holiday, and the people that I've spoken to online, nobody's buying it.
Yeah.
Nobody's buying it. Even the guy and the lad in the music shop. I went in to buy some new strings, and he's in there with his blooming mask on, and I laughed at him. I said, "Mate, not COVID-19, please." And he said, "Well, it's better to be safe than sorry." And so I went into my monologue about it, and he said, "Yeah, I know. I've been looking into it. I don't believe the narrative that they're telling, but what he thinks is it's something sly being done by China. He thinks China's trying to pull a fast one." And he's wearing the mask just in case. But I don't think he realizes that wearing the mask perpetuates the fear. Well, go on, Adam. Sorry, mate.
Well, there's the belief that the mask in some way makes you immune.
It doesn't, though. It doesn't work, does it?
Immune to COVID-19 with my mask.
It's actually the converse. The reason masks are worn in terms of infection control to mitigate your respiratory droplets. They're not there to prevent you
from others.
Okay, when we talk about the hand gels, so when somebody with COVID-19 walks past you, apparently, distributing these respiratory droplets, you don't pick them up generally by breathing in their sneeze. Most people are clear of that. You pick them up by touching the worktops that they sneezed near, and then later on touching your face. Okay, so this is the other thing that's still not being corrected in the mainstream, and this is why it's just fear porn.
Yeah,
is the face masks are being purported as some kind of preventative, where they're not actually preventative from you getting it. They're preventative from you, if you have it, spreading it.
I'd like to sort of go back to what you said. You mentioned, Adam, about opportunists, and you mentioned the price of the massive, unbelievable hike in price of the masks from 20 pence to 9 quid, didn't you say?
Yeah, about no, it used to be 5 quid for a box of 50, so 10p, and I've heard they're going for £9 per individual.
Whoa.
Each,
mask.
right?
Yeah.
So you listen, right? I'm not this sort of person, okay, but I am the sort of person that's capable of having these thoughts, right? Because all of us have a dark side, and the cheeky monkey in me says, man, if you had money, if you had enough money, you could just buy a crap load of stuff online, stick it in a warehouse, and then when people start needing stuff, after the, you know, after all the
There's probably
bad,
people that have done that, Rich. There's probably like people that have already
well,
taken
you know, but
advantage of
before
that.
the
Who
actual
can say
lockdown
who it's worth,
happens,
you know?
cashing in before the lockdown happens. Hey, no worries, I've got water. It's only £5 a litre.
Well, in the same way they make profit off of war, they make profit off of disasters and fear mongering as well, don't they? That's I think
Absolutely,
that's
man.
something that we can all attest to. We've all seen that done in
Salted
the past.
Cedar, how you doing, mate?
And another thing I would like to say, good job, Rich, with that. Salted Cedar, Raymond B, Zepzo, Marilyn and Jessica, Carla, Paul, John Kennedy, Brian Staveley. Lovely to see you all. Billy Boy, Zenith, everyone's got some awesome input. Sorry,
I
Nick.
think
Lee Brogan.
Awesome.
We've got loads. Lunderground, hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm going to get to
Good
all
to
your
see-
comments. You've all had some excellent comments, and I really want to give some of them a shout out because some of them are excellent. And I'm so sorry if we've seemed really engrossed with the conversation and not bringing you guys into it. I definitely want to bring up a few of the points that you've all made. You've made some great points.
I want to also talk a little bit about, you asked me who controls the narrative, and Richie
I'd like
talked earlier.
everyone's opinion on that, Near. I'd like everyone in the chat room to get involved in this as well. I'd like everyone's 2 cents worth for, in their opinion, who they think it is that controls the narrative. Yeah, go ahead.
And
I'm just going to step away and make a coffee, if nobody minds, because I haven't had a coffee since
I'll
getting
have
back
a
from work,
coffee.
so I'm just going to make one.
Can I have one?
as well.
Don't
Yeah.
you dare not make me one. I'll have one as well. Go on, Neil.
Anyway, so Richie spoke earlier about money, and you spoke about the narrative. So it's kind of like related, I think, in some way, because it's always like that. That the one who's gaining out of all this, okay, out of all this is probably the one who wants this to keep on and to keep happening. And let's think for a second, who's gaining out of this? Okay,
Yeah.
We got the media, that we got everyone's attention to the media. And we got, of course, politicians that need to make now serious decisions regarding this this corona. And we got also medicine, I guess, starting to develop economically. So all these entities kind of like transmit to you that we are now in a panic mode. We are now in a really harsh situation. So I think that you should like point directly back at them, because they're the ones who supply you with the information. They create, of course, the chaos, the order out of chaos. So they supply with the whirling, with the false information. And then afterwards, it lets them not only to gain more money out of it, but also, of course, to control, everyone's attention. When people are in distress, they immediately gonna go to the media and to the government, that it will tell them what to do. And I think that this is the one who's are controlling the narrative, because as I said before, I think this disease, this corona, is kind of like, it doesn't have more capacity than whatever the media gives it. It doesn't have more capacity in reality. Which kind of like decisions that are made regarding this this disease, it's made on kind of like invented disease. Some kind of like other side of flu or something like that, and it's not related to reality and what is really happening with people's health. This is at least my thoughts. But to create this commotion and to create this illusion and this need for the media and for the government, this is not a new thing. This is a thing that goes on and on endlessly. Especially if we talked about Israel before, it's like this is like the main sport of Israelis. If they will admit it or not, it's like they love it to be stressed up about something that happens. And the media over here knows it, and they supply it with quantities, Not only just bad news. Okay, we have lovely things going on over here in Israel. Lovely people doing wonderful things, but still, you like open just a newspaper, and you see like the first 23 pages of the newspaper, all dark, all like horrible things that happens, all kinds of like things that we should be afraid of. That will happen. And last page, you got like fashion shows and trips in the south of Israel, watching flowers and stuff like that. This is like the illusion that they give us for like this is reality. Okay, no. Reality is half bad, half good. It balances at the end. Okay, and I used to have a fight with that. I went to learn media, okay, in my college years, and I remember like having terrible fights with my lecturers about this subject in particular, about what the media should broadcast to people and how it does affect them, okay, and you can, in Israel, for instance, you can see that in all kinds of like memorial days or whatever really bad thing happens, we have a lower rate of car accidents. Okay, so it kind of like affects the people, the mood that they have for the whole day, of how much they're stressed and how much they're doing car accidents and how much they, active with their life, because once you have like coronavirus in your head, okay, you can't really think about anything else. It pushes away everything that you need to take care of, work and family and whatever. So in Israel, it's kind of like the national sport, as I told you. People like to be stressed. People like to be pumped. We got like a news flash every 30 minutes or so. With all channels, and usually they are all like totally coordinated with the news, with the details, with and of course with politics as well. It's also like well known and well familiar. It's like in the States that all the networks, all the news networks are totally left wing, and again, this is like one show that they're doing to us to show us, okay, we are left wing. It's because we have a real battle over here, okay? But it's not because of that. It's just the show that they're giving it to us. While the difference between left and right doesn't really matters, okay, in any way. So this is so. As for the narrative, this is how it goes. As for businesses, I don't know. I kind of like felt I'm running a translation company, and I felt like there's a fewer jobs lately. But from the other side, there's all kinds of like hospitals and businesses that kind of like issue a certain call for the workers or whatever. They have to translate it to several languages. So so this is the good side. I got the good side of the corona.
I'll tell you what, it does feel like to a certain degree that it's all kind of pantomime to me. I don't know about you guys, but it genuinely feels like we're lost in a bit of a pantomime, and it's, oh no, they did, oh no, they didn't, oh yes, they are, oh no, they're not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole thing, to go back to what the question you was asking, Rox, who's control, the whole thing is a pantomime. However you see Epstein, even if you could find the bloke that told him to build his temple or buy the island or put him into that position, they're all of these people, even if you can track those down, they're puppets. When you're asking who's controlling this, well, realistically, that's an impossible task, isn't it? I think the paradigm set up so well that I
think we could at least look to the next level up. We could at least try and like identify the next level up. And I don't think it would be futile to do that, because we can understand it's a self-evident truth that the puppets are in place internationally, that all the world leaders are puppets. So, do we ask ourselves, have they been elected or have they been selected? If we're going to turn a blind eye to it, we can just go, right, well, they're elected and I just choose not to elect. Or we can go down the more difficult path that doesn't sit with most of our narratives and go, well, if we acknowledge that they're selected, then we need to acknowledge that they're selected by another level of people.
Yeah, well,
And
that's the
and
thing,
that's
then,
the bit
isn't it?
that's not too difficult to identify, because we've just got to follow the money. We've
Well,
just got to
no,
follow the money, the control, the amount of time they've been in control, the amount of, with bloodlines comes time and comes control,
I'd
and with
disagree
wealth they
there,
can.
Rox.
But that's the narrative we're in, Adam. We
No,
live on
what I'd say
a
is-
lie. We live a lie. Big pharma, war, corruption, genocide, human trafficking, the
I
whole
don't
9
disagree with
yards.
that. No, I don't disagree. What I mean is, in terms of following the money, following the trails of the game. Okay, the person you need to find is the person that tells the Queen whether or not she has to disavow her son because he's a known paedophile. They're the people that we'll never find. The ones that tell, the ones where the trail ends. What to do and whether they can do this or that within
that's
the
what I'm
system.
saying. I think those that don't see are those that aren't looking, because it is there. The trail is there. And Andrew's just the tip of the iceberg. I think people have just looked at that and turned a blind eye.
The bloodlines are there, and the Queen is a part of a bloodline that has a great deal of control, owns a great deal of land, controls a massive amount of wealth. Wealth being everything, not just cash, not just money in the bank, gold, silver, resources, land, properties, all kinds of stuff. And it's those bloodlines. We really have to take this back, right, to where this started, and that's before the Second World War, before the First World War, back to the Russian Revolution, when it was the monarchy that was terrified of this uprising from the Communist Party, and they ended up mobilizing an entire nation in order to fight it, which was obviously Germany and the Nazis. They funded you follow the money, how they funded Hitler and the Socialist Party. This all comes from the monarchy being terrified about losing their position, losing their status, and losing their wealth, losing their grip and their control over the rest of us. And
that's why I asked about the narrative.
This is.
That's the only reason I asked about the narrative, because I feel like the reason the narrative is such a tentative subject with people, because I think we all kind of know that the narrative, if you can control the narrative, then you can control public opinion. If you can control public opinion, then you have power over said public. If that's international, on an international scale, then that would be the guard that's in control, the human guard. I don't know about what's above that, but the only thing I would speculate on is the puppet masters, because they're the ones that are controlling the ones that are the ones that are in front of us, the ones that are telling us what to do. And when we're being told what to do, like we're being told what to do now, we're being told that they're going to start implementing social distancing in this country. I, for one, in my lifetime, have never seen anything like that. And then when I look at all of the international walkaways, the notable deaths, people that are walking away from billions and billions and billions of pounds worth of.
And that's something that we could probably bet quite safely.
How many walkaways?
That most people aren't people. Rocks. The only people that are really paying attention to that are people like you and me, and anybody who's really paying attention to what Q was saying about. Watch the people that are walking away. Make sure you watch the walkaways. Watch the sackings.
Let me tell you, more than half a dozen that have walked away just in the last 5 weeks. We've got Disney, Bayer, MasterCard, Victoria's Secret, Salesforce, Hulu, Uber Eats, IBM, MGM Resorts, LinkedIn. That's just to name a few. We've got major top boy CEOs walking away from retirement packages, millions of pounds. Don't worry. Where do I sign? I quit right now, because I'm part of the disinfo. I just want to create scare tactics. I'm a nobody from nowhere, and I just happen to be the CEO of that company, and never mind what he's doing, I'm quitting now. Where do I sign? No, I don't want anything. Don't give me a penny. In fact, take my
It's all right. Don't want me pay. No, don't worry about that £1 million pension. Don't worry about that. It's all right. You keep that.
Who does that?
Keep that.
Who does that? And that's just a couple. So when everyone's saying, well, this could be, this, and it could be that, I'm going, well, wait a minute. Looking at the ruling elite classes, if you look at the Soros foundations, if you look at the Rothschilds, if you look at the House of Saud. I'm so glad that I mentioned this earlier on. We've got royals in Saudi Arabia being arrested for treason. So to me, that doesn't sound like the deep state are like fucking around. That sounds like the deep state are on the run. That sounds like the deep state cabal are fighting for their lives, and every which way they turn, the doors are being closed on them. Wherever they thought they were running to, they're not running there now.
If you follow their money, it goes into Saudi Arabia. You can trace it back to these princes and stuff, can't you? It's like they're not with the investments that they've made. They were involved in pay to play. Probably. This is a speculation on my part. I don't know this. This is my. But maybe they were part of, the.
It could have been. They may well could have been. But I mean, just yesterday there was a massive purge of royals and aides all over the place. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. Someone help me out on that one.
Right. So Lunderground Lunderground said, like, it's all the same cabal. Look at the space agency logos, Saturn symbolism. He's making a good point. Something that that our friend, Q, he said their symbolism will bring them down.
Yeah.
So if we want to, it's a real thing. If you look at the emblems and the symbols behind the companies and the corporations, you'll see links, and it's important. It's important to know.
Yeah. Just over the last 24 hours, a purge of princes and aides continued across Saudi Arabia on Saturday after the kingdom's crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, claimed to have foiled a coup being plotted by two of the country's most senior royals, widely seen as among a few left standing in the way of his ascension. So, and there's like a few, and apparently one of them's kidnapped or abducted his daughters as well. So there just seems to be a kind of royal crap show going on over in Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of people being moved out of seats of control, number one spots, whatever you want to call them. And can we all just call this coincidence? There's shipping lanes closed down left, right and centre. Left, right and centre. Just go and look it up. Go and look at all the shipping lanes that have been closed down on an international scale. All the major shipping routes shut down. Absolutely shut down. So I'm seeing international freedom of movement being affected everywhere. It's just not reached everyone's doorstep yet. I yield the floor. I can see
one of the things that
it's tentative. Sorry.
One of the things that that we've been criticised for is watching the mainstream news, and a lot of people have thrown the mainstream news out because it is fake news. But we have been told that they are dropping comms in the news. So I think it is important for everybody to keep their eye on the news and see what the mainstream narrative is, what they are telling us, and try and think about the numbers that are being used and the names of people, the numbers, how do we get people to see it in a different way as comms,
Yeah, I think
the way that we sit there and look at it.
The best analogy I would use is there's a map's pretty useless without a legend. You can't really read a map very well unless you've got a legend to reference it with. And so if you look at all the wealth of information we've got in front of us, and if you look at the news like a little bit of a legend, and look into whistleblowers, freedom of information and how they normally get their comms, and look into, I don't know if anyone here has heard of Secure Drop. That's just one of the ways they used to assure the anonymity of whistleblowers, or of what they deemed as whistleblowers, people that were giving them information, or another word to put it, their source. With that being said, you would normally see the mainstream media say, and blah, blah, blah today, and blah, blah, blah. And our sources tell us, well, who are your sources? Where's your source material? Where's your evidence? What propaganda are you going to give us today? Well, once Secure Drop was obsolete, that pushed that aspect to the surface. And then they went, do you know what? What we'll do is we'll go on gaming servers. No one will find us there. And then if you look at all of the Xbox and PlayStation issues that happened, Xbox going down, PlayStation going down, then they moved on to Discord. Yeah, go for it.
I just want to address the Q thing again, right? Because I know that we've got Q haters. I personally was a Q hater. I watched it from the 2017. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I jumped on it straight away as soon as it came out. As soon as it surfaced, I was on it because I'd been awake since 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And I was part of a group that looked at it very, very closely. And unfortunately, we got misled. And we all, I personally said, it's a psyop. And I left it. And then you and Dolly introduced me back to it. And I came back to it with fresh eyes. And also appreciating how it was waking normal people up. It was bringing so many new eyes, critically thinking brains, independent thinkers, people looking at this information and trying to work it out for themselves. But it also, when the Q map got posted, it didn't make much sense in 2017 because it looked like they were saying that these things were going to happen now. Because of the dates that were coming up saying, oh, Hillary Clinton's getting arrested, John Podesta's getting arrested, and it's all happening, right? And we were all like, no, it's not. No, it's not. This is a load of rubbish. Now we fast forward to today, and me and Roxanne are sat there listening to the news and then cross-referencing certain phrases, certain dates, names, just various different things to see what comes up in the Q map. And the things that come up in the Q map, there's no such bloody thing as coincidence. And there's too many things.
You get to the point where it becomes a joke. It does become a joke.
It is a joke, isn't it? It's got to the point. It's got to the point where I'm saying, look, yes, I fell off the Q train, but I'm back on it, man. And I'm really, really grateful for Roxanne being my best friend in the world and being on it, bro. Because without her, I wouldn't be able to appreciate what this Q movement has actually done. And this map is making sense now. Later on, it's making sense.
I've got to give Dolly a shout out here as well. Shout out to
man,
the Q
definitely
movement,
Dolly,
because it brought her to the fact that the globe's a lie. Try that one.
Yes, exactly. And that was one of the biggest endorsements for me for Q, was the fact that it actually woke Janina.
She saw the smoke and mirrors in a question,
even through the question.
Yeah, instantly answered
especially because of that question, but especially because Q said no, the Earth is not flat, and she used her critically thinking, independently thinking mind to realize what was actually being said.
She instantaneously said, oh, that's because the globe's a lie. I get it.
Not because the Earth's not a flat, observably flat.
It was a strange moment for her, and respect to Dolly, because she literally did within 2 seconds and went bang, right, guys, hello, hi, I'm on my channel here, got something to talk about here, come across something, and boom. So it just goes to show people come to the truth from all sorts of different avenues. And Dolly's like me. She's a mum of 2 kids. She's on her pursuit of truth. She's doing her little bits of research, delving into bits here and there like I am, not waiting for the next person to tell her what to think, not waiting for the next person to tell her what she should be looking into. She's going with what feels right for her. She's just following the path of truth.
You can't tell Dolly anything, can you? No. You really, we can't tell Janine anything at all.
Perfect example of she's already critical thinker. Shout out Dolly.
I've jumped to conclusions with Dolly, thinking that she hasn't looked at things properly. But it turns out she looked at these things before me.
With everyone, don't you think everyone does that? Everyone kind of.
We make assumptions, don't we? We make assumptions on people.
Adam, I'm sure you've had it. You be talking to people about things, and they just assume that you've not properly looked into it before you formulated opinions on it, or near. You know, people are quick to slam people down and go, well, just slam. It's a bit like cognitive dissonance, a little bit. You know, when people knee jerk when you're trying to talk about
what's
things
his name? like what's his name down at Speaker's Corner saying that you're a flat earther because you were stood next to people that are flat earthers are actually saying that the earth is flat. Guilt by association, isn't it?
Yeah. I think people are very quick to label people and to put them in a box that makes it feel okay for them, makes them feel okay with the situation. And that's why I've got respect to everybody for coming out in public, whether you're in the chat room, whether you're in front of a camera, whether you're out on the street. The fact that you've come out in public to put your position in the public domain and say, look, just for the record, I'm not buying into this, I'm not buying into that. Take me, as you will.
I want to add up at this point, if possible. I want to talk about my awakening that happened besides like globe life, flat earth, whatever. Let's put it aside for a second. I had like a really big awakening in the last few months regarding this whole thing with the history of Israel, of my country. You mentioned the Rothschilds before, and the thing is that once I got encountered with lots of globe deniers, flat earthers, lots of them just blamed Rothschilds like you did beforehand, and I usually whenever they kind of like blame in that aspect, I usually take it as and those Rothschilds are probably like you because you're Jewish and all the Jewish are like that, and so this is how like putting people in the frame. But I took it like in a pretty much of alternative way. When people told me used to tell me that, so I would dismiss them. I would tell them, "Oh, you're just anti-Semitic and you don't know anything." But I actually went down and checked it out. Okay, researched it deeply about the whole Zionist story that they're telling us, and you talked earlier about the narrative. Now, the narrative is pretty much like what you studied in the education books. Okay, and about what happened with the Zionist movement and how it started and how it ended up into today. So once you try to look at it with a different angle, then you see that the whole motives of the Zionist movement were completely different from what is the actual narrative, and the actual narrative is usually to regain to ourselves the homeland from 2,000 years ago. This is why people decided to go and immigrate to Israel in the end of the 19th century. But the story is completely different, okay? And once I got look into Rothschild, I actually have to thank Richie for that as well. He sent me some clips about it, and I kind of like started to put the dots together with all of that. And what I kind of like researched and discovered was that the actual motives, okay, of getting a great deal of Jews of immigration into the land of Palestine at the time, at the end of the 19th century, was by Rothschild. Okay, was by Rothschild. He's the one who first established settlements over here, settlements of Petach Tikva and Mazkirat Batya and Zichron Yaakov, all kinds of. And they are spread out through the map of Israel in a very like equally way. And he actually was the one who's kind of like controlling the practical Zionism, what we know at the time. Him and afterwards Chaim Weizmann, and this is what actually turned into what we know as the left-wing parties of today. But at that point, they only like struggled between whether to come to Israel with like just establish settlements or doing it in a diplomatic way. Now, the motives of the Rothschilds to come to Israel is very mysterious, and if you go back to history, and you go and you know that Rothschild was a Freemason and you relate it to the Templars of Malta, and you can see the whole relationship between them. It was one stream of them, and from there you can see the Templars themselves, that you take them all the way back to the Crusades that were, coincidence, were actually here in Israel. Crusades for something like three waves of crusades. And the first one that arrived over here, the Templars, actually were the bankers, okay, the bankers of the people that went to the journey. They told them, yeah, bring all the money to me. We'll bring you like a note. See, you have this, and don't worry, once you get back from the battle, you will get your money back. Yeah, right. Anyway, so they held all the money, and once they came over here to Jerusalem, the first thing they did, okay, they came before all the other crusaders. The first thing they did once they conquered Jerusalem, they excavated the city of David, okay, for what? Finding, I guess, the holy treasures, okay, that were still there from 1,000 years ago. And I don't know if they found anything. Okay, there's all kinds of like rumors about it. The whole, if anyone knows the series of Oak Island, they have their looking for Templars treasures over there. But one thing I can kind of like that they kind of like research and discovered, and I think that it's kind of like. This was my conclusion: is that the whole Zionist movement was actually the continuation of the Crusades. Okay, they wanted to come over here, take control of this land, and be like with ownership on the physical and spiritual treasures of this land. And this is why they put Jewish people over here. Afterwards, we got also like Palestinians that were kind of like brought into being one nation. Okay, of course they're calling them names, but there are different tribes that they calling them one name of Palestinians. They bring Palestinians from other countries, and then they created this situation. Okay, purposely. Okay, I mean. Her Majesty, I guess, or whatever is on the other side of the line over here. Yeah, they created this kind of like situation, this kind of like conflict between these two people. Because if you put two people in the same place, they will fight each other. And you put religion on top of that, and they don't have too much of a good history together. Yeah, you'll get, of course, conflict for 100 years or so. And to be honest, like until I started researching that, okay, and see what are the motives that my country was built from, I kind of like started to lose my patriotic side. Okay, in Israel, it's very, very like common to have your patriotic side right in front, and believing in your country, and go to the army. Of course, everybody go to the army and protect the country. And then you kind of like realize that it was all like a really big lie, okay? The conflict shouldn't have been lasted for 100 years. People should have gone to the army, and you just wasted our time and money and life, okay, for some people that go to the army. So this is kind of like gives you a harsh feeling of betrayal, okay? That things over here are not being done from the right motive. This is my thing, and as I told you, the thing with the coronavirus, okay, and how they're handling it, it's like it's maybe new for countries like yours that are, I don't know, operating in a more sensible way, okay. But in here, it's kind of like this is how they operate all the time with things. The coronavirus is no different, okay. Once we have like a security issue, usually with the Gaza Strip, whatever. Yeah, they also do it in the most bizarre and weird way, and disinformation and all kinds of things that just makes the people more stressed. That's all. And I guess this is one of the purposes.
Sorry, I was on mute there. I
didn't
realize I was on mute. Yeah, I agree, and we've got a lot of people putting their 2 cents worth in the chat room as well. Shout out to you in the chat room. Scooter 007's in the chat room as well, going back and forth with people. Mighty Atom, thank you so much for your comments as well. Vertec, Astro Zombie, Man Bear Pig is in the chat room as well. Still Billy Boy, Salted Cedar, Underground, Colin Turner. Lovely to see you all. No More Lies as well. Lovely to see you too. Dave Mordy in the chat room. Colin Turner as well. Tomoshino. Lovely to see you all in the chat room. Astro King, FPV, Zeppo as well. Mr. Russell is in the chat room too. Marilyn Wisby. Lovely to see you still interacting in the chat room. Brilliant comments from Marilyn Wisby as well. All People, Free People is in the chat room too. And hopefully I haven't missed anybody out. The Astral Thief as well. Lovely to see you too. John Kennedy's in the chat room as well, alongside Adam Forrest. Wonderful to see you all. Thank you so much for all of your input so far. It's really brilliant to see everybody interacting about these things, and I like everybody having a socially interactable discussion like this without arguing. And I'm not seeing, well, hopefully I'm not able to see it properly, but hopefully no one's getting booted and we haven't got too many trolls in there, because we're just trying to talk openly and freely without causing fearmonger aspects to this subject. I will keep you up to date with what's going on, though. South Korea is now reporting in the last 24 hours that they've had nearly 100 new cases. And the weird thing about this whole thing is that they seem to be, if I'm right, they're asking for concessions, consideration, and cooperation with the military op. Sorry, with the COVID-19. Just makes more sense. As soon as you replace COVID-19 with military op, it just makes a whole lot more sense. Border shuts, this, that, and the other. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just the weird comms that seem to be coming through the MSM like never before. Nothing seems to make sense about what they're saying. They almost seem to contradict themselves within 60 seconds. But by the time they finish the sentence, it doesn't make sense relating to what they've said in the beginning of the sentence. So yeah, just as a disclaimer for anyone that's tuned in, I am not buying into the narrative of the COVID-19 virus. I do not believe what the narrative is telling me. I feel it's a cover for something far, far bigger. And I wouldn't dare push that on somebody else. But I'm still going to tell you what the narrative is saying and give other people. I think it's very healthy to put the narrative on the table like that and dissect it and let everybody know what everyone thinks, because I think there is a general vibe on the streets where, like Rich said earlier on, everyone kind of pretends to get on with it, but behind closed doors, no one's really buying into it. I was at Speaker's Corner last week and no one had a mask on. Everybody was hugging and giving each other kisses on the cheeks. No one was particularly bothered. But yet the shelves are empty. So you tell me, what am I supposed to make of that? No one in the city seems to be going on any different, but yet the shops have got no bits and pieces in because everyone's panic bought. But no one's panicking.
And we got Man Bear Pig in Australia, exactly the same thing in his shop in Australia.
Yeah.
I think what we talked about before, like you remember talking about the Israeli election, that they're here to divide the people, okay? To divide with every election, you kind of like divide more and multiply it. So it's kind of like in order to increase this division that they're trying to do for us right now, they're trying to use physical acts, okay? If not, do not be physical, okay? To keep people apart from each other. This is also what they did, I think, with...
Can I let you guys talk for a minute? I don't want to go off air. I still want to stay live, but I just need to let Kenny out the back door and use the ladies' room real quick. But
before you do, Rox,
yeah,
I'm going to have to hit the sack, I'm afraid. So,
are you going to sleepy pies, Adam?
Mate,
Betty boys.
I'm flagging a little bit.
Are you sort of like this? Adam, are you like this now?
You kick back.
Are you like this in your chairs? Because we can't see you, but this is normally when you're not done, so you're somewhere.
He's kind of like that. You are.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, man, it's good to see you. Thank you, dude. It's good to see you, buddy.
Honestly, Adam, thank you so much for being here and giving us your input as well. And that's what I think. I think it would be rubbish if we were sat here all singing off the same hymn sheet. I think that would just make us like mainstream media, all reading off the same book. So I can't thank you enough. Big hugs to you, my darling. Lots of love to you and the family, Adam. Big respect to you, sweetheart.
And you. guys. It's been good fun, and yeah, no, take it easy. Double. God bless, pal. I'll see you all soon.
Come on back soon, Adam. Come on back
soon. Won't be long.
Soon, buddy.
Won't be long.
We won't be talking about this shite for long. Don't
You never know, Rox. You never know, mate. You never know. God bless everyone. Yeah. Good night.
This is all we can do, isn't it? So,
yeah.
All right, my darling. Take care. And we're still here. So don't chat room go anywhere. We will be carrying on the conversation.
I think well, 5 a.m. over here in Israel, and tomorrow it's Sunday. It's like the first day of the week of working in Israel.
Nearly Purim time. Nearly Purim time. Have you eaten all the treats yet?
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's 5 a.m. over here. I will say to you good night.
This is going to be me and you, Rich.
3 hours sleep and 3 working days beginning. This is how I put for you, Roxanne, and Richie, and this is what I'm willing to sacrifice, truly.
Thank you.
You guys. You're great. You're awesome.
Right back at you, Neil, my darling. Well, you have a good rest, and me and Richie will hold it down here with the chat room. Thank you so much.
Speak to you tomorrow, buddy.
Be brave.
Speak to you tomorrow, man.
Bye, guys.
Bye, my darling. So, Rich, and then there was 2. And then there was 2.
Then there were 2.
So it's just me and you now, okay? Really woke reports with Roxy and
our beautiful chat rooms, awesome. Both chat rooms. So I've actually got both chat rooms open.
Okay,
because I've got 2 phones.
If you want to give a shout out to one chat room, I will go and let Kenny out, okay? And I will give you full rate of the Really Woke Reports chat room and viewers. Shout out to all of you viewers that are tuned in and not in the chat room because you've decided to not have a Google account and you're here by sheer miracle. Thank you.
We're not seeing your view. You don't even register as a view.
No, it's
you know that.
But you're there, and we appreciate you. And
you're there. Thank you very much.
Registered. We appreciate you too. And to each and every one of you in the chat room, I am going to get to you. If you've got any questions for anything we've spoken about so far, because I've got more. Oh, there's more. Oh, there's more.
We can
questions in the chat room. Put a question mark in it.
What? Yeah.
For us. Yeah.
While you're doing that, I'll go through and just say hi to people. I'll tell you what I'll do.
Yeah.
I'll start off with our smallest chat room, which is the one that we're trying to get the biggest, right? So can I just say to anybody, you go and sort Kenny out, babe.
Cool.
I can do, you don't worry, but you can. I'm a co-anchor, remember?
You're right.
You could even put the whole screen on me if you want.
Really? Oh wow. Okay. I can do that. Cool.
So yeah, guys, everybody that's in Roxanne's channel, we are trying to build the subs up for the Really Woke Reports. We are live on Really Woke Reports now, but obviously we're trying to build the subs up so that we can go live on mobiles and stuff, so that we can do more sort of on the spot live streams if they're called for. And you know, obviously, Really Woke Reports. That's what this is. We want to try and move everything over there eventually. So if you haven't already subscribed, please go and subscribe to Really Woke Reports. We've had over 100 subscriptions in the last couple of days. So thank you very much, guys, for everybody that's supporting the channel. Please share everywhere you can, anywhere that I don't have any of my social media. The only social media that I have now is YouTube and Instagram. I don't really use Instagram at all. I don't see the point in me using Instagram because I'm not the sort of person that just posts pictures. I like to post whole videos up and stuff if I'm going to say something. So I've only got my YouTube, and I can only really share on my communities page, which nobody ever sees, either because they don't want to go and see it or because they're just not getting the notifications. I think that my notifications from my communities page are being shadow banned. People aren't getting them. I know Roxanne isn't getting them. So if anybody wants to pop onto my page, you can get there via my avatar in the chat room. Just go and have a look at my community page afterwards and make some comments. I share a lot of stuff on there. Once we've got enough subs on the Really Woke Reports, we'll be able, because at the moment we can't, we don't have the communities open for that yet because we don't have enough subs, I don't think. So yeah, after all of that, I just want to say we've got 13 people in there, I think. Lee, Adam, I don't know, Adam, are you in both? Vertex, I don't know if you're in both things, but so yeah, Vertec, Lee, Marilyn Wisby, Jane, Gonna Do, Zepzo, who else? Lunderground, obviously. Hey man, I think we've connected, haven't we, on Instagram. So if you want to connect with me on Skype, I don't know if you've got Skype, but we can chat on Instagram, dude. So feel free to send me a message. I would really like to chat with you. Obviously, Mambo Pig, how you doing, man? Good to see you. The other chat room, it's dropped down to 55 people now. Maybe that's because Rox has gone. But we've got you, Astral Thief. We've got Underground in there as well. OGGFPV. How you doing, man? I can't. I'm not. For some reason, I was thinking that you might be a troll, but I don't know. And no more lies as well. Hello, man. Dave Maldy. Sorry, mate, if I'm butchering your name. Zenith ABC. How's it going, mate? Jessica. Astro Zombie. I know my man Astro King is in here. The Astral Thief, Mighty Atom, Billy Boy, Adrian Marcus, Pat Riot. God, we got loads of people in there, man. Thank you for showing up. Hopefully, if people are getting triggered, they realise that we're really not trying to fearmonger anybody. We're just trying to discuss what's going on at the moment in a critically thinking way. And we've got so many different opinions. It's important to share them all. And it's important to be able to share your opinion without fear of reprisal or ridicule or anything. You should, every single one of us should feel perfectly safe to share our opinion or our opinions, our perceptions with each other, even if the other person doesn't agree with it. We should feel safe to be able to share our opinion and discuss it and compare it to the other opinion, the opinion of the other person has. We've really been weaponized against each other. We're all like we're like powder kegs all ready to go off, and somebody says the wrong word or mentions the wrong thing, and the fuse is lit, and boom, World War III breaks out between friends. So I think it's really important that we make an effort to stop reacting to things, and rather than react to something, think about what's been said, the fact that it's a different perspective and a different perception that's being given to you, and that person has that right to have that perception and that opinion. That's their God. That's their, I won't say God-given right, because that might trigger people. But that's their right. As a resident on this earth, that's your right. So we should try to accept each other's opinions, even if it drastically differs to our own, because we have to understand that the other person has reached that opinion because of their own perception of what's going on, and their own perception of what's going on is based massively on what's happened to them in their life. And you don't know what's happened, especially if it's somebody that online that you're not talking, that you've never met. You don't know who this person is, and they've reached that opinion because of things that have happened to them in their life. And whether it's right or wrong, and whether you agree with it or not, that's their position, and you have to accept it. So, yeah, I'm not sure really where I'm going with this. I'm just trying to fill the space until my beautiful co-host comes back and takes over.
What did I miss? Thank you.
Well, I went through the thank yous to everybody, and I tried to also press on everybody the importance of going over and
Really Woke Reports,
subscribing to the Really Woke Reports, because it will allow us to use the communities page as well if we get the subs up.
Yeah, and if you consider yourself somewhat of a citizen reporter and you want to talk more openly about what's going on in your area, we'd implore you to get in touch. We want as many of you internationally to get.
We want international citizen reporters.
Yeah.
Right. We want people to take this seriously.
We've got to the point where we don't
take it seriously. So we should take each other seriously.
Yeah.
We can't take the mainstream media seriously. We should take each other seriously. What we're seeing, boots on the ground, what people are actually seeing and feeling from around them, and and like I said, being able to share that opinion, share that observation. Like, so you make an observation and then you state your opinion on that observation. Share that opinion freely without fear of being attacked for it.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank everyone so far for being with us. We've been streaming for about 1 hour and 54 minutes. For some reason tonight, I have a need to talk. There are so many things going on that I want to go through. And I appreciate the fact that there is actually people here watching. I'm impressed with the fact that there's more than 2 people watching. So much love and respect to you. I can't thank you enough for just being here and being part of this conversation that we're having just now.
3 o'clock in the morning.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning, Rich. We've got no business being up at these times.
2 blooming hours.
We're up.
How many English do we have in the? How many English are there in the audience? Can I just? I know that London is English.
Can we just have a bit of a roll call? I'm in London. You're in Tenerife. Where are you all from? What's your name?
Yeah.
And where do you
age
come
and where
from?
you're from, like Lionel does it. Lionel Nation. Age and where you're from. Just age and where you're from.
How old am I? What year is it? 2020.
I'm 42 in Tenerife.
I'm 39 and I'm in London. There we go. Why are we doing this? What? It's 3 o'clock. That's why we're doing it. Okay, so yeah, I'm 39 and I'm from London, and Rich is 42 from Tenerife, and yeah, it's late. It's
Actually,
Saturday
I'm
night.
from England. I'm from Basingstoke, but I live in Tenerife.
This is true, and I'm late tonight because as much as I'd love to go live in the week, I'd love to go live a lot more. In fact, if I could, I'd go live every day because I've got things to talk about every day. But I can't. Like, I'm in mummy mode 98% of the time. And when I do get a little bit of free time, I normally research or collaborate with people offline and communicate. I'm forever in communication. So even though you don't see me live, shout out to everybody that does get an earache from me all the time. I love you all dearly. Thank you so much for all your patience with me. I am getting there bit by bit. And again, thank you to everybody that's helped me get to where I am now. Without all the love, support, and care, due and attention from people that I've had around me. My dad always used to say, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. And I'm very grateful to have an amazing set of people around me. And I love you all very much. I don't really know if they're all watching because they're not really all YouTubers, but hey, I put it out into the ether. So I love you all. And to all of you watching, to everyone that's subscribed, to everyone that's supported us this far with their time, first and foremost, by just giving us a time of day to talk about what we're talking about. I think me, for one, I ended up in the YouTube community because of my isolation. That was really what got me here in the first place. And that isolation then brought me into chat rooms, and then going into chat rooms brought me to making content, and then bringing me to making content got me to meet you, Rich. And now we've known each other for nearly a couple of years, and now here we are doing what we initially did, which is just having a public conversation really about what's really going on. It's what you used to say all the time. You used to say, listen, you can watch things here and watch things there, but what's really going on, is what's going on boots on the ground. Unless you've gone somewhere, seen something firsthand, you're just hearing secondhand information.
I think it's important that people realize that the most important time, the only time, is now. And what we've been doing as woke individuals for myself for the last 7 years, for yourself for the last 7, 8, 9 years, for other people more, other people less. But what we've been doing is we've been burying our heads in the past and the future, We've not been thinking about now. And it's come round to the point now where we really have to think about now and actually say, do you know what? It doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter what happened or who did it.
No.
What matters is where we are and how we're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do from this point on.
That's
because
right.
if we do something now, we can affect a change. And if we do it as one, where we go one, we go all.
Correct.
We can actually affect a positive change within our own realities. # rewrite reality.
Yeah, well said. And I think I've got that in the. We've got # facts matter, # real reporting, # rewrite reality, sheep will no more, the great awakening, truth, where we go one, we go all, and really work reports. The one thing we have mentioned, and we've mentioned quite a lot of times, is that there really is no more room for self-importance and arrogance when talking about such subjects. It's not my truth. It's not Rich's truth. It's not, I haven't claimed ownership over anything that I'm talking about. I'm just simply talking about what I'm seeing going on in my world. And I implore as many of you to do it as possible, because if we don't, then we're just sitting in an isolated situation, listening to other people's regurgitated information. I'm trying to give you as much source information. I'm trying to tell you as much of the narrative that's being put out there to your sleeping neighbours. I, for one, have spoken to my neighbours a few doors that way and a few doors that way to get their kind of gauge on what's going on. None of my neighbours seem to be buying into it. None of my neighbours seem to be panic buying, yet all of our local shops are out of stock. So like you said, Rich, either people are being a bit shady or...
I want to say it again. I think about it, and I do not want to think the worst of people. We actually, we were watching, and they were trying to portray it that it was all Indian people that were stockpiling.
That's what I thought was out of order. That was out of order,
right? And it's sort of, and I'll admit it, right? What did I say to you, Rox? The first thing I said to you was, look, it's all Indian people. God, yeah, that's why there's no bloody rice, isn't it? And, I was jumping to my programmed response to what the program response to seeing that would be. But then very quickly, Roxanne pointed it out. Yeah, they're doing that deliberately. Yeah, they are. They're bloody doing that deliberately. I really think that they are withholding stock, withholding things off the shelves, withholding them from actual, from the stores themselves. I think it's going on a higher level. They're interrupting the supply chains, and the stores are just having to cope with it. And they're trying to foster some public, what's the bloody word? Come on.
Public support.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning. No.
Support.
They want people fighting in the streets. They want people fighting in the bloody shops. They want it like Black Friday in America. Right? They want it. People getting
scare tactic's
violent.
Necessary. It's a scare tactic, but it's absolutely necessary for them to do what they need to do, Rich.
The difference being, if they do this as a medical martial law,
I've had an idea.
It's all peaceful. It's all peaceful, and everybody's, it's just no. If they do it, if it's because people have started to get violent, and there's been public, oh God, why is it's 3 o'clock in the morning?
It's all right. I've got a little video I want to play anyway. I've got a little.
It means that they'll actually be able to impose even more laws. They're going to be able to slip in more laws underneath, and they've put on this cybercrime. They've put this cybercrime into the bill for the disasters. We were watching this the other day, weren't we? It's worth noting that they've included this cybercrime thing. Well, I mean, we've said that unfortunately, I think it's Polly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Polly didn't. Was it Polly said about it? No, it wasn't. I'll tell you who it was.
Go on.
First Munch sent me a link, right? And it's about this cybercrime thing, and they're trying to add it to the bill for the disaster bill that gives them these extra rights and whatever. What has cybercrime got to do with pandemics and public health? What has it got to do with it? Nothing at all. So why are they trying to pop it onto this thing? It's a bit weird.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit weird. I've got a couple of videos, Rich, a couple of the ones that I was talking to you about earlier on from Joe M. And I wanted to show the one that's from Dark to Light, but I think it would be useful for me to show the remastered one, because for people that have just tuned in, for people that really have blindsided this, I'd ask you, like I ask people that haven't looked into the globe line, if you've got 90 minutes to watch like something on Netflix, if you've got like time to watch TV, then I'd really appreciate if you just took the time. I'm going to watch it too again. I've watched it before, and I'm really not trying to push anything.
I'm going to say it in a more blatant kind. Do yourselves a favor and don't waste your time on something meaningless and stupid from Netflix, and actually watch something that you might learn something from.
So we're going to watch a couple of things and then we'll discuss after, if that's all right with you, Rich. I'm going to share the screen. Hopefully everyone will hear the volume and they'll hear it. I will make sure I put the links for the 3 videos that I'm about to show you in the description. Shout out to my beautiful girl, Dolly Daydream, because I know baby girl has sat there with her iPad, and I know for a fact at one point she showed her viewers. So shout out to any viewers that know the content I'm about to show you. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of disinformation in there, but as we all know, disinformation is necessary sometimes to people that aren't ready to fully wake up. Sometimes you've got to ease them into it, ease them into it.
You just got to take everything with a little pinch of salt, haven't you?
Yeah, some people come to the globe light at different rates. That's all I'm going to say. I've got to stop getting triggered by people that use propaganda in their videos. I can't write someone off because they've shown a globe. All right. So bear with me. I'm going to try and set this up now. I'm going to show you. Yeah, I'll show you that one first, I think. So let me just do that, and that. I'm getting there. I'm getting better at this. Okay, so we're going to do that first. Then we're going to share the screen. And after these videos, I'll get to you in the chat room. And I want all of your questions with question marks. If you want to put capital letters to make it stick out even more, me and Rich will get to all of your questions. I'm sure some of you might have a lot of them, and we'll be glad to answer as many of them as possible after this.
Have you ever wondered why we go to war? Or why you never seem to be able to get out of debt? Why there is poverty, division, and crime? What if I told you there was a reason for it all? What if I told you it was done on purpose? What if I told you that those who were corrupting the world, poisoning our food, and igniting conflict were themselves about to be permanently eradicated from the earth? You might think that an idealistic fantasy. Well, let me tell you a story. We acknowledge there are criminals, of course. They rob your house, they steal your phone. They can murder you too if they think they can get away with it. We have all experienced criminals in one way or another. Criminals, as we know, are those who choose personal gain over the rights of others and have no regard for the law.
Rocks, mute your mic.
And you're thinking. Criminals can also succeed in business and politics and can be elected as our leaders. If a criminal became the president, imagine what they could achieve. They could use the full weight of their executive power to commit much larger crimes and ensure they and their friends were enriched to the fullest extent possible. A criminal president could create alliances with other criminal presidents and then collaborate on more global criminal activities. Anything goes. Drug running, human trafficking, whatever makes the big bucks. The 20th century was turbulent with war, economic disaster, famines, and displacement. We have always accepted these things as just human nature, and simply the way the world works. Something inevitable, and due to the weaknesses of human nature that drive us to these actions. This is where we were all tragically wrong. You are not a criminal. I'm not a criminal. So how can we just assume that it is human nature that is driving all this pain and misery? What if it wasn't human nature at all, and as a result of something more deliberate? We were taught that capitalism was the cause of a massive rich-poor divide and the reason for poverty, which in turn is the reason for war, crime, and starvation. Others were taught that communism, a system of equal wealth across all people, was really to blame for the mess. But you see, folks, it is none of these things. It is not our nature to fight and be racist. It is not in our nature to rob from others. What you must learn is that it was the criminals all along. Yes, they got power. More power than a criminal should ever have. They rose to the top of media companies that control our news and entertainment. They ascended to the top of the banking system, also to the Oval Office, to Brussels, to the Vatican, to the Crown. They crept in quietly. They became leaders of agricultural companies who had control over our food supply. Also big pharmaceutical companies, the ones we trust to help us when we're sick. Nobody stopped them, and they just recruited more criminals to help them. First, they accumulated the world's wealth. They invented a system of money called central banking, which lends money to governments with interest, placing countries into eternal debt. People's wealth got less. Their wealth got more. Much more. When a criminal is already as rich as they can get, then protecting their ill-gotten gains becomes the priority. Angry citizens tired of being poor are a major obstacle and can revolt if they suffer enough. The criminals needed to prevent this. So they diverted attention to the last remaining competitor, the people of the world. You and me. We were not happy being ruled by criminals and having to work 3 jobs just to survive. They know we won't accept it. So they use their control of the media to set black against white, woman against man, young against old, Muslim against Christian. They convinced us we were the problem so that we would fight and destroy ourselves. To get it done faster, they attacked all aspects of humanity that make us strong. Like family, using their influence over culture, they popularized lifestyle choices that led to a surge in broken homes, lost youth, and substance abuse. I could talk all day about how else they deliberately weakened us, and it would turn your stomach. We were just trying to get on with living. So where are all the good guys? Good people just want to get married, have kids, make a living, and enjoy their liberty. Well, there were good guys, many. One became the President of the United States in January 1961. He knew about these criminals and wanted them gone. He knew their intentions for us all, and he wanted to fight them. Sadly, he had no idea how powerful they had become. Reagan also had good intentions for the American people. He knew this criminal mafia controlled almost everything by the stage, including the powerful rogue intelligence agencies. His economic policies were promising, but the criminals needed a weak America to hold on to their power. Reagan was shown with a bullet that a growing U.S. economy and prosperous citizens were not what the criminals wanted. It was looking pretty grim for good people. Every time someone wanted to stand up and do the right thing, they got stopped. Were we ever to be freed? These criminals are also known as the Deep State, or Cabal, because of how they control things behind the scenes. Every president after Reagan was one of these Deep State criminals, and their empire got even stronger. With each bad president came new depths America and the world would sink. The world collapsed into darkness. Do you need me to tell you how? Destroyed factories, declining job numbers, sicker people, opioids, destruction of Iraq, Syria, and Yemen with pointless war, displacement of people into Europe, ISIS, terrorism, collapsed governments, poverty, and genocide. Total misery. Do you think that was inevitable? Hell no. Well, here's where things start to take a new turn. When the full picture comes to be known, it will forever be regarded as the greatest story ever told. Well, here is the top line. Some good people still held positions of power. They valued humanity and the rule of law. While the criminals discussed their game plan at the annual Bilderberg meetings, the good guys were making plans of their own. The information age was coming to change history forever. As the internet flooded into every home and appliances became smarter, and when people started carrying tracking devices, an opportunity to put an end to criminal control over the world was emerging. We became connected, trackable, and surveilled. But so did they. They became dependent, just like we did, on email, SMS, instant communication. It made crime much easier, but it also put them on a grid that, if accessed by the right people, would expose their crimes to the public and end their iron grip on us once and for all. In this new age of information, it was thought that the military should also have its own intelligence agency to focus on cybercrime and espionage. They called this the NSA, the National Security Agency. Here we had every phone call, email, and text from every device stored and archived, whether it be someone making a doctor's appointment or the deep state setting up a massive heroin purchase from the Taliban. In the right hands, it will be enough information to expose the entire sinister criminal plot to rob us blind and wipe us out. Hold that thought. Now I need to explain the plan. The good guys were devising a plan to reclaim the world from the cabal and return it to the people. It would involve alliances with multiple countries, since the criminals had global rat lines, trade, and other infrastructure in place that would need their cooperation. It came down to two choices for America: launch a military coup to seize the government from whichever cabal puppet was in the White House at the time, or win legitimately, take control of the NSA, expose the criminals for what they are, and arrest them all. Obviously, the first option would be very troubling for the public. With people still preoccupied with cabal-engineered social issues, they would likely revolt and hurt themselves and others. No, it would have to be the latter. So they needed a candidate who could win, and who could win big. Many states like California had been so heavily inundated by criminals that even the voting machines were electronically set up to swing votes any which way. It would need to be a very decisive victory. Good patriots in the US military and their global partners asked Trump to run for president so they could take back control of America legitimately without alarming the public. Trump was a good choice, obviously, because he overcame the voter fraud and won. But he was a patriot, and he was loved and admired by the public. He was not interested in joining the cabal because they hated America, and he did not agree with them on that point. As soon as he showed interest in taking power, they activated their media assets to viciously turn on him. That's when we saw the sudden hatred emerge. Even when he won, the cabal still had no idea what he was a part of, and the sophisticated plan that was about to unfold against them. Shocked at their loss, they mobilized their full arsenal of intelligence, media, money, and technology to try and take back power. There are people at the top of the DOJ and FBI that put together a plan to frame Trump and have him impeached. This is where we come back to the NSA again. All messages were stored and could be used to expose this plot and prevent Trump's overthrow. An entire book will be written about the first 2 years of Trump's presidency: false flag terror attacks, downed planes, missile alerts, assassination attempts. Here's the point. The world is currently experiencing a dramatic covert war of biblical proportions. Literally the fight for Earth, between the forces of good and evil. I can't put it in simpler terms, but I can say it appears the good guys are winning. The cabal had complete control over North Korea. They hijacked the Kim dynasty, took them hostage, and worked to build up a nuclear arsenal to threaten the world. Kim Jong-un suddenly embracing peace was simply because the deep state were beaten and driven out. ISIS was also destroyed in the year following Trump's win. We are all starting to see the pattern now, that enough time has passed, that our biggest global concerns are starting to recede, and peace is returning. It is all evidence that the good guys are winning the war. But we're still in the middle. While a lot is improving, it still puzzles many that most of these known criminals are still free, especially the higher-ups like Hillary Clinton, the Bushes, and Obama. That is coming in the next chapter of the story. That's why we have Q. The good guys with control over the NSA began the Q intelligence dissemination program to invoke an online grassroots movement that came to be called the Great Awakening. It started on underground internet channels and then moved to the mainstream. Q has been a fun distraction for those who follow world events and desire truth, but it is about to begin a much more important and necessary phase, keeping the public informed when the deep state war breaks out onto the surface. By this, I mean high-profile arrests. Yes, folks, The criminals I'm referring to are famous politicians, actors, singers, CEOs, and celebrities. People who have earned our trust, respect, and admiration. They have done very bad things that are all fully known and documented, and they will be severely punished. Those of us who have followed Q since the beginning will be here to help you make sense of the coming events. We are among the first to realize that our petty partisan divisions are just trivial distractions, and we are all enslaved by a hidden enemy. We realized that the problem was never capitalism or socialism, Democrat or Republican, black or white, Muslim or Christian. We know it was just very powerful criminals who had too much power. Fellow slaves, it's time to buckle your seatbelt, recognize your true enemy, and embrace a new future that we all owe to the brave patriots who risked their lives to achieve this victory against the greatest force of evil the world has ever known. May God bless America. There was a time when our children stood at attention, and in one united voice recited the Pledge of Allegiance. When strength and honor meant something. When standing for our flag meant something. There was a time when our history was taught with pride and respect. When respect was given to those who served, bled, and died to protect and defend our freedoms. It was when we, the people, decided our future and had a voice that was heard. We are all bound by a feeling deep inside that people in power are exploiting and abusing us while using the powerful media apparatus to pretend they're not. All we ever wanted to do was the right thing, but they kept telling us we were wrong. We started to believe them and let ourselves forget everything that once made us strong. We became weak. We elected traitors to govern us. We allowed evil to prey on us. Those who claimed to represent us gave us false hope, made false promises. The evil and corruption only grew. They invented the word globalism to advance on their agenda of tyranny undetected, using fake narratives of social justice to neuter our resolve to fight back and silence us with shame. If you've had the misfortune of living through a globalist revolution, you will remember many false promises of prosperity and justice for all, but observing only poverty, violence, and death. One after another, these nations were robbed of every resource the land and waters produced. Citizens who would not surrender their freedoms were threatened, marginalized, or even killed. Those who did were weaponized against the rest. They blamed us for destroying the environment, for poverty, for slavery, for not going to college, or for just giving up. What you must learn is that it has always been them, a colossal global criminal class who had risen up and occupied every level of corporate, legal, and political power imaginable. In 2016, they were preparing for an endgame that was to start with the election of Hillary Clinton, and within 8 years would have culminated in nothing less than a mass global nuclear holocaust. Yet somehow, while humanity was taking its last step over the precipice of extinction, there was a miracle. You may know it as the plan. Brave patriots set into motion a sophisticated military-grade sting operation against the overwhelming network of corruption that had led all the way to the top. By the time the good people of the world learned of the frightening reality they were living in, and how close we came to the end of it all, we had already been saved. Raging around us is the final phase of a vast global shadow war, not between nations, but between the forces of good and the most unimaginable of evils. They know what's coming. It is now more clear than ever. Never in our history have they been this exposed. Never in our history have they come out from the shadows to fight. The truth is clearly visible. They defend the violent criminal gangs of MS-13. They openly promote the dismantling of our borders. They said there would be nuclear war if Trump remained in office. They encouraged violence against those who spoke out. They pushed hate, war, and economic decline. They wanted to stop peace talks with North Korea. They called for Trump to be impeached, not even providing a reason. They tried to get us to hate America, and so many obeyed. But now, each day, more and more, we see they are terrified. They knew this day would come. The entire world is watching. Patriots from around the world know that if America should fall, so falls the world. That's why we have Q. We the people, patriots everywhere, stand at the ready. We volunteer our talents willingly. We fight. We think for ourselves. Dark to light.
I don't. I know that
is a land
everybody.
of heroes. A place
Oh, this is still
where
going.
born, where destinies are forged and where legends come to life. This is the home of Thomas Edison and Teddy Roosevelt, of many great generals, including Washington, Pershing, Patton, and MacArthur. This is the home of Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, Amelia Earhart, Harriet Tubman, the Wright brothers, Neil Armstrong, and so many more. This is the country where children learn names like Wyatt Earp, Davy Crockett, and Annie Oakley. This is the place where the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth and where Texas patriots made their last stand at the Alamo. The American nation was carved out of the vast frontier by the toughest, strongest, fiercest, and most determined men and women ever to walk on the face of the earth. Our ancestors braved the unknown, tamed the wilderness, settled the Wild West, lifted millions from poverty, disease, and hunger, vanquished tyranny and fascism, ushered the world to new heights of science and medicine, laid down the railroads, dug out the canals, raised up the skyscrapers. Our ancestors built the most exceptional republic ever to exist in all of human history, and we are making it greater than ever before. This is our glorious and magnificent inheritance. We are Americans, we are pioneers, we are the pathfinders. We settled the new world, we built the modern world, and we changed history forever by embracing the eternal truth that everyone is made equal by the hand of Almighty God. America is the place where anything can happen. America is the place where anyone can rise. And here, on this land, on this soil, on this continent, the most incredible dreams come true. This nation is our canvas, and this country is our masterpiece. We look at tomorrow and see unlimited frontiers just waiting to be explored. Our brightest discoveries are not yet known. Our most thrilling stories are not yet told. Our grandest journeys are not yet made. The American age, the American epic, the American adventure has only just begun. Our spirit is still young, the sun is still rising, God's grace is still shining, and my fellow Americans, the best is yet to come.
Right. Well, I think we've definitely got a few people giving their opinions in the chat room, and I welcome all your opinions, regardless of whether I agree with your opinions, whether I don't agree with your opinions, whether your opinion is something I've never heard before. I genuinely would like to hear your opinion. The one thing I would like to put as a disclaimer is that let's all understand one thing. Yeah. We've been under control for an extremely long time, and that control
as long as you've been alive,
ingrained
as long as we have been alive
of our life. Yeah, we've all been taught.
As long as every single one of us.
We've all been taught that we're living on a spinning ball, flying through space. And I would just like to keep shining a light back on said expeditions in 1909, when they had the expedition Nimrod, and then they went and they claimed they went to the North Pole, all in the same year. And then the think tanks were produced, the national curriculum was produced, and they started to teach the lie backed up by propaganda. We still live that life today. That wasn't that long ago, 1909.
And
they had
for
to do
anybody
that in order to make it now. Those people were the puppet masters. Those puppet masters are the puppet masters that their bloodline has been in line for a long time. Yeah. Now, I want to hear I want to hear a lot of opinions. Now, I will give my opinion first, because I think that will give some kind of gist as to why I'm saying and showing the things I'm showing. I don't want anyone to give. I want everyone to be very, very mindful of the knee-jerk responses that are coming out of them. And I was one of those people once myself. I once thought I was on a spinning ball once upon a time. And I couldn't quite get what the argument was until I'd gone into it a little bit deeper. And then I realized, there isn't an argument on whether it's flat or whether it's a globe. The globe's a lie. End of. There isn't an argument. There's just no argument. We could argue the rest of our life about a flat earth model, but the one thing we know for sure is that the globe's a lie. So once I understood that, I started to use my time more efficiently. I wasn't going down an endless road in an argument that I couldn't win, because no one's given us a working model of a flat earth that we can prove, you know? So with that being said, I will just say this. Before everyone gives a knee-jerk programmed response based on what they've been taught, I would just urge everyone to expand their thinking and have a little bit more of an open mind, especially when people like myself will understand that there is puppet masters, whether we know them by first name or not. We definitely have been ruled by some kind of dark, malevolent, macabre people that if they don't worship Satan itself, they worship the thought of Satan. If there's such a thing as worshipping the thought of Satan, that's what they've been about. I yield the floor because I'm going to get into the chat room, because I do want to give everyone their say. I'll get your comments up on the screen. Rich, as you're talking, if you can try and help me go back and forth with the comments. I'm coming to you guys in the chat room now. Go right on ahead, Rich.
No, I just want to shout out to Mr. Mensa. How you doing, man? You've been around a long time. Missed you. I haven't seen you for ages. One of the knee-jerk reactions is one of the ones that I've seen in the chat room, and it happens quite a lot when the subject of Israel comes up, and when our friend Nia is either in the chat room or actually on a stream. And it's one of the knee-jerk reactions that I actually used to have myself. And then, so I just want to give my own personal testimony about being programmed by not just the media, but by stereotypical characters put forward in films and comedy, and just the general sort of picture put forward about Jewish people and about Israel. When I was first introduced to Nia, when Roxanne first told me about him, she first introduced me to him, I was very wary. I was very like, raw, isn't it a bit strange that, you know, we don't know anybody from Israel? I decided to put aside all of my prejudice because I realized that it had come largely through programming of one type or another. I didn't actually know anybody from Israel. I didn't actually have any Israeli friends. I didn't really know anybody who was Jewish. It's all based on what I'd been programmed with. So I put all that to one side, much like I did with Donald Trump when I decided to decided to sort of scrutinize him and try and get a reading of him. I put it all to one side, and me and Nia have been friends since the first day we spoke, and we don't speak every single day, but we speak every week, and it's like a few times a week we speak. He's my brother from another mother, definitely. He's just like me. And through Near, I've met somebody else, really, really nice guy called John, who I think we're going to get on the show. And he, likewise, he's a really, really nice guy. And it's not, we've got all these prejudices that have been programmed into us by society and MSM and, you know, media of various different types. You need to put it to one side and think about if you've had any personal experience yourself. And if you haven't, seek it out. Seek out having a personal experience that you can actually read yourself and gauge for yourself, you know, what the person's like and if you like them or not. The knee-jerk reactions about Israel being evil and, you know, it's all Satan. Blah, blah. This is one of the knee-jerk reactions that they've programmed into us through our entire lifetime of programming. That's all been gearing up to this moment. Does anybody get that? This isn't something that's been going on for the last 5 or 10 years.
You see what London
or the last 20 or 30 years. This isn't the last 20 or 30 years. This is our entire lives. This has been going on for generations. They always knew that this time was going to come. They put it forward in the film The Matrix, where they said, oh, Neo, you always turn up, you always turn up. Well, yeah, because human beings aren't stupid. You can only pull the wool over our eyes for so long. Those of us that are real, certainly myself, if you get one over on me, it ain't going to be for very long. I tell you that, because I'll read you in a second if you've got something, you know. And there's other people. Whilst I'm unique, I'm not alone. There's hundreds, probably billions of people out there just like me, who are capable of actually discerning for themselves the truth of a situation. So. Really think about it. Think about the programming that we've had and the fact that it's been our entire lives. And the reason it's been our entire lives is because they've known about it for our entire lives. So they've wanted to get us ready. They've wanted to get us ready for what they want. They knew that this awakening was going to happen. That's why they put people like Alex Jones in place. That's why shills exist. When they say think outside the box, think about the box as a paradigm. We live in a world of paradigms, a world of boxes with labels on them. Get right outside all of them, man. And that's where you start using your discernment. Your discernment comes from your heart. You always discern with your heart. It's not just your intelligence, it's your feeling. You need to trust your feeling. Trust your feelings, man. Trust your instincts. Trust them more, because they've done their best to make us not trust our senses. Not trust our instincts. Our instincts tell us that the earth is flat.
They want people divided, don't they? They want people divided.
They want us totally divided.
They want everyone divided on every
Because united we stand, divided we fall.
Yeah. And I feel like people have come so far on their pursuit of truth. It's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame when you see all that kind of division going on just regarding the truth. That's all. Just regarding the truth. Getting back to my questions, Rich, I know it's only the two of us here just now. And
I'm fading fast, babe.
You're fading fast. With regards to the question we were going through, I think we've kind of put out a broad synopsis of what we're trying to talk about this evening. And I think if any of you have been lost in what we're talking about, go back through. We've been going live now for a good few hours, and I think me and Rich are like pretty burnt out. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here with us this evening as we've gone through. We will probably make the next ones a bit more short and concise, but we definitely had a lot that we wanted to talk about. I'd implore any of you to go and look into what we've talked about this evening. Don't believe what we're telling you. Go look into it for yourself. See if you can fish any more information out and do the same yourself. Share that information with other people. That's how we'll grow.
Hey, you know? Can I just say something? Totally off subject, but can I just say something?
Go for it.
And I can refer this to the chat room as well, because you guys, we've had comments about the background noise and stuff when I'm using the club, and I was always having to use the club for the internet access because they've got much better access. They had much better access there than I had here at home. And in the last couple of days, my I lost my internet for a day, and then when it came back, it was a different name. I was like, oh no! And then I got a message off my landlord saying, oh yeah, we're fiber optic now, and he gave me the password for the Wi-Fi, and here we are. Have we had any problems, Rox?
Not
I don't think we have. Has there been any problems with it? This is so beautiful, man, to have this with no background noise. I don't have the beautiful artwork behind me. You know, I have my rather drab curtains. But yeah, hopefully those of you that used to get annoyed about the background noise, I don't need to go to the club now. It's nice and quiet.
Yeah, it's buffering now. So I don't know, something's happening. It's buffering for people, or for some. Maybe you need to refresh.
It's because I've been saying what I've been saying.
Just said, yeah,
of course.
We've spoken too soon. But we'll be back. We'll be back within the next couple of days with more really woke reports to give you. We'll keep an eye and try and update you on the international situation. Check out what's going on in your areas. If you're familiar with your surroundings, then you'll pretty much see if something's out of place. And if you see something, say something. I think this is where, as an international community, we really need to work together and try and honestly report on what's going on in our areas, because the mainstream media clearly are an enemy of the people. They will mislead people, lead people down garden paths, give disinformation where and when they please. And it clearly is affecting your average person like us. So, yeah, that's about it. I'm wrapping up for the night. Thank you, everyone in the chat room. If you want to make a further comment, please go into the comment section below. I will make sure in the morning that I put all the links for what we've shown you this evening. For the videos, just go over to Joe M's channel. All of those videos are there that I showed you. Go and take a look in the comments section. Go and dig. Go and look for information. Go and research yourself in some of the things that we've spoken about. All of the information I've given you this evening is readily available. I can't signpost a particular video that I've got the information from this evening, because I haven't watched YouTube to get the information. I've gone on a search, and I've actually used, like I said, a map's no use without a legend. I've used two things coincidentally to come up with all that up-to-date information about what's going on. And you will not find that information if you just sit there and wait to be told it. You'll assume nothing's happening. I've seen a few people in the chat room this evening going, well, I hear a lot of talk, nothing's happening. Just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean it's not happening. The silent war continues. It seems to be 80% covert and 20% public. And the 20% that is public, it does seem that if you're not looking and listening, you're made to assume it's not happening. Each country seems to be holding on for as absolutely long as they possibly can, being a normal functioning corporation of a country, servicing their most elite people at the cost of us. So with that being said, use your discernment, be a critical thinker. Do not wait for the next person to tell you what's going on. Don't use a stiff upper lip. Don't wait to be told something. Ask, open your mouth. Don't just see something and walk past it. We've all been told not to do that. So yeah, I love you all lots. Thank you so much for being here. I've been Roxanne the Globalist Anaya, talking to you live from London. And I have been joined
up in 007 in Tenerife.
Lovely jubbly.
Off the west coast of Africa.
Yes. And we've been also live streaming on the Really Woke Reports channel as well. So we've been streaming on two channels. You'll find this stream on the Really Woke Reports channel and Roxanne the Globalist Anaya. And hopefully moving forward, we will do all three. 007, Roxanne's, and Really Woke. So go over to that channel and sub to it if you haven't already. If you're on Really Woke and you haven't subbed to our channels, sub 007 and myself. Adam Meakin and Esh News were on tonight. Adam Meakin is from Iron Rail Media. Go and check out those channels. If you've never heard of those channels, I'll make sure those links are in the description. Esh News as well over in Israel.
Check out Esh News.
Go and check him out.
Remember what I said. Remember what I said. Remember what I said.
If you're a content maker in the chat room, press 1 as well. If you're a content maker, go put a comment in the comment section so that we can point people in your direction. Thank you so much, darlings. I will see you soon.
Much love, guys.
Mm-hmm.